Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. David checking in with you. We'll be starting in approximately less than 3 minutes. Welcome to our new time slot, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. We're experimenting with different webinar times. So if you guys have any input as to what the best times for you are based on where you are in the world, if you can communicate those to us in terms of Pacific time so that we know how to best reach you and when it's easiest and more conducive for you guys to spend some time with us. That would be super, super helpful. You guys are the reason we do these webinars. And I love taking the time out whenever I can to share some amazingly powerful and unstoppable transformation and influence and persuasion secrets with you. And I'm really excited because tonight's webinar is absolutely one of my favorite classes to teach. I love all the classes that I do, but whenever I look back on my career, when I started as a kid in Pennsylvania, through my time in Florida, at the Oklahoma State University, or sorry, Oklahoma State, yeah, OSU, Oklahoma City, yeah, and up through my medical school career, and even to now, when I look back at the connecting threads of all those different versions of David, the thing that has made the biggest impact, the biggest change in my life has been the ability to influence and persuade human beings. And I include myself within that, because that's actually the most important person that you need to influence. And that's why a lot of you are here. You're looking for an edge, an advantage, a way to tip the scales in your favor. And tonight is where you get to do that on steroids. Tonight is where you will learn some of the most powerful, amazing techniques for transformation, persuasion, and communication I have ever discovered that have changed the course of my life, not once or twice, but multiple times. So believe me when I tell you that if you just follow the instructions tonight and really do the drills, you're going to have experiences that are going to change everything for you. And then if you want to take it further and you want to learn more, I'm going to show you how to do that. But tonight, or this morning or this afternoon, or whatever part of the world you're in, make sure you have coffee, something to write with, something to take notes on, a good attitude, and a sincere desire to follow instructions, do the drills, and get the skills. Because without further ado, we're about to talk about secrets of human influence, killer influence, secrets of covert hypnosis, psychological tactics for influencing humans to do whatever you want, ethically, honestly, anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances, for any reason whatsoever. The material that you're going to be exposed to tonight is, what the heck just happened to my, there we go. So that was weird. Somebody just turned off my camera. Anyway, the material that you're going to be exposed to tonight is not theoretical. It is not something that you'll find in a new age mumbo jumbo book. It is stuff that has been verified not by one, but multiple universities and research institutes. But all that aside, it's been verified and validated by over 30 years of in-field training and workshops and things of that nature. All right. So let me just we do have a few pregame things that I want to talk about before we get into tonight's content. So the first thing is, by a show of that's me in the chat, type, if this is your first time in Planet David, type in your name, how you heard about us, and what it is that you want to be able to do as a byproduct from tonight's webinar. Right? What is it you're going to want to be able to do? Right? And I want you to, not only do I want you to type it in the chat, but on your notebook, pad, or whatever, I want you to write that down, because we're going to be coming back to that very, very shortly, because I want to give you an experience. And by having the experience, you can understand what it's like to guide other people through that experience. So Aisha says, I heard about you from a coworker of mine. Awesome. Welcome. Make sure you type in where you're checking in from. If you're a veteran of Planet David, type in your name, where you're checking in from, and how long you've been a member of the channel. And because you veterans, because you, Aisha's from Canada, excellent. Because you veterans, I'm going to put you to work. You're going to be my teaching assistants, so to speak, tonight. Those of you who've been in Planet David and been through at least 3 or 4 seminars, right? I want you guys to, if you see questions that I miss or that you have a direct experience answering, I know everybody wants to hear from me, but you guys expect me to be able to do this. You expect me to tell you all the amazing things that this is going to do for you. And they're true. But when you hear regular people just like you, who've been using these skills and using these techniques to create profound changes in their lives in real time, to me, that is what you should be paying attention to. Okay. So I really I want everybody to feel like they're part of something much larger than themselves, even though all of you are here to become more powerful, to become more significant, right? If this is your first time, we're gonna go through the webinars if you have never been in Planet David whatsoever. And I'm going to give you a little bit of my background, a little bit of my credentials, and then we're going to go through the webinar tonight is going to be in 3 parts. First part is foundations phase. This is where we're going to give you some powerful foundational information and experiences along with drills so you can experience what it's like to be on the receiving end of this process. Part 2 is where we're going to transition into next steps and leveling up. Leveling up is where we show you, okay, this is the techniques that you just learned in phase 1 are from this system, these trainings, this seminar, this book, whatever. This is where you go to get the access to everything that is in the system, right? So phase 1 is foundations and fundamentals. Phase 2 is leveling up. Phase 3 is customization and application. So let me explain that to you. At the end of phase 2, when I've gone through all the different packages we put together and the training calendars that we've got and things of that nature, that when you decide you want to take it as far as you can, we're going to come back and we're going to build on the foundations that we taught you in level 1. And we're going to drill down and give you very specific techniques beyond what you learn in phase 1, coming up shortly, and customize the content of tonight's webinar for you so that you can take it right out into the world today and start influencing people and hearing more yeses in your life, and more trust, more credibility, more status, because these are all things that are important to you. Okay. But before we go into that, so one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight is how to control and direct your and other people's emotional states. We're going to start with a primer of that. We're going to talk about secrets of irresistible human influence, charismatic communication on command, and how to win arguments and overcome objections at will. We're going to show you, first of all, one of the very first things we're going to show you, if you apply this, is called the emotional bonding checklist. If you apply this in every situation, you're going to neutralize most arguments right away, because you will automatically be communicating to somebody on an emotional needs level. And people rarely resist requests, directions, or suggestions that help them satisfy their emotional needs. Let me repeat that a few more times. People rarely resist anything that helps them satisfy their most personal emotional needs. And when you can speak to a person's emotional needs, they'll generate all the reasons for doing something. They'll generate all the context, all the justifications, all the rationalizations necessary for them to act on those body feelings. Okay, so this is a really, really important piece. This is the super meta 50,000 foot view of everything that we're going to be talking about. Okay, now my disclaimer. First and foremost, if politically incorrect language, colorful metaphors, swearing, or the word boobies offends you, now is probably not the best use of the next 2 to 3 hours, right? We may go longer, we may go shorter. This is a new time slot for us, so I'm experimenting, right? But my intention for you guys, and I use that like the new non-gender specific bro. I learned that from my nanny today. Bro is now a non-gender specific word. I don't know when that happened, but bros, listen, right? My goal is never to offend anyone. However, it's important to also understand that some of the things I'm going to be sharing with you may not be politically correct. They're not going to land well with people who are so indoctrinated in how they believe the world should be that they're not willing to work with it the way it is. Okay. right? When you come to Killer Influence, for example, and I pull apart all the different biases that people have, and you're not going to eliminate those biases in people. So if you can't eliminate them, then you have to learn how to manage them. You have to use them to move through the world being a force for good and an agent of change, right? And that agent of change, you could be a high ticket salesperson, you could be a coach, a therapist, a mentor, right? You could be a negotiator, a mediator, a police officer, a social worker. I don't really care. A CEO, right? I don't care what the application is. These tools will help you, right? So that being said, let's talk about, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quick. I'm not a big fan of screen share, but maybe we'll do it this way. Oh, that's not working. Hold on a second. Apparently my side-by-side view has changed. I was gonna see if I can do side by side, but it's not going to work. Okay, so first and foremost, why am I even here? Why do I even qualify to teach you about this subject? Well, first and foremost, I am actually a doctor of Chinese acupuncture and Oriental medicine. I'm actually working on a second doctorate in very advanced forms of energy healing, energy psychology, and psychotherapy through the Bianhuagong Institute of Change and Church of Transformation. It's a spiritual degree, but it teaches all the stuff that never made it out of China past the 90s. So I'm really excited about that. I've had this is a copy of my doctorate from Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. And I've had a practice here in Solana Beach since about 2005, where I've specialized in treating physiological illness that's caused by repressed emotions. So I've literally, to use a mechanics term, I've literally been under the hood, so to speak, with tens of thousands of people, finding out what's causing their problems, what's making them sick, helping them to overcome their limitations, limiting beliefs, fears, phobias, terminal and chronic illness. And that was my specialty for many, many years, was treating physiological illness that was caused by repressed emotion and emotional patterns. And I want you to write that down: patterns of thought, patterns of belief, patterns of behavior, patterns of feeling and emotion. Everything human beings do runs on cycles and patterns. Okay. The primary driver of those patterns are body feelings. So that's two of your master keys right there. Everything we're going to share with you tonight is going to trigger a change in either a pattern, a behavior, or a feeling. Okay. And with the double asterisk, the real emphasis being on feelings. Okay. Feelings control everything. And if we can understand them, that's why we begin every class with hooked on a feeling. If I could do it here, I would have everybody stand up, jump around doing hooked on a feeling, and get their body engaged, right? Because there's pure power and pure magic in that space. But like I said, I've had over 15 years, actually going on closer to 20 years now, of clinical practice. But on top of that, I've authored over 15 different products on various forms of human influence. In 2020, I was ranked the #1 NLP trainer of the year by globalgurus.org. I've been in the top 2 for the last 8 years. So with the only person who's beaten me on a consistent basis has been the founder of NLP, Dr. Richard Bandler. So kudos, Richard. I'll get you again someday, I promise. Anyway, but I've authored over 15 different products on various forms of human influence, everything from selling and persuading to attraction and dating to therapeutic and healing practices, mediation, negotiation, copywriting, energetics, high-level trauma resolution. I'm face reading, you name it. We've done so much with it, right? But what I'm really proud of is that the course that you're going to be practicing and training from today is from a program we call Killer Influence. Now, Killer Influence, starting in about 2020, this is from 2022, by the way, from 2020 up to 2023, the Killer Influence program was ranked the #1 NLP program in the world by globalgurus.org. Okay, so this was from last year, and this is from this year, or from last one was from 20. This is from 2023, and as you can see right here, once again, we're the #1 NLP training program in the world. There are two versions of Killer Influence: Defense Against the Dark Arts and Secrets of Covert Hypnosis. And they've both been ranked #1. So you are getting the absolute best training in the world today. If you want more, we'll show you how to get that further, okay? I also have a 10th degree black belt in Okinawan karate. I have 4th, 2nd, and 1st degree black belts in other martial arts as well. I'm a certified instructor in combat sistema, cinco mano eskrima, mano arnis, and I've got more energy healing credentials than McDonald's sells hamburgers. I've been a Reiki master teacher since the early 90s. I'm advanced pranic healer and pranic psychotherapist, advanced DNA theta healing. I'm a certified Bengston energy healer. I do not teach the Bengston energy healing system. I'm not allowed to certify, but I do practice and I do teach variants of that in my trainings. And Qigong, Taoist energetic Chinese energetic medicine. I'm working on my doctorate and hopefully I'll finish that up sometime this year. So when you see all this stuff, a lot of people ask, well, what do these things all have in common? Well, I gave you the answer to that already, and that was pattern recognition. What do they have to do with human influence? Pretty much, oops, I have a very, very sensitive mouse wheel. Pretty much everything. Everything human beings do has a pattern and a structure to it. And if you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, people will reveal to you every single thing that you need to know to influence them to do what you want them to do. Okay. Now, everything you're going to learn in this training and in NLP Ultra and all of our other influence trainings is all about being on the side of the angels. It's all about being able to influence people to find you more credible, to trust and believe you, to like, love, and follow you, to mediate and modulate conflict in the most ethical, reliable, and consistent way possible. You don't ever have to lie, cheat, steal, misrepresent, or in some cases, confuse people. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, to get them to do what you want them to do. If you're someone who does a lot of sales work and you're constantly having to handle objections, this is going to take objections, 90% of your objections, I would estimate, if you follow the protocols that we're going to share with you tonight. 90% of your objections are going to go out the window. If you're a parent and you're constantly fighting with your spouse or your children to do what you need them to do, to bring out the best versions of themselves, you're going to get some of the most powerful keys of human influence tonight that you can just start deploying right away and see a change in people. Now, I'm going to jump back. I'm going to jump out of my my screen for a moment just to look you in the eye, so to speak. Here's one of the things that I really love about the content that we're going to be exploring very, very shortly, and that is this. You, as a student, a practitioner, my extended family, you as a student do not have to believe a single thing you're going to learn tonight for it to work for you. Let me repeat that 2 more times in case you thought you misheard me. You do not have to believe in these techniques for them to work for you. What you do need to do is actually use them. Okay, let me repeat that. You do not have to believe a single thing I'm going to share with you tonight. Okay, but once you experience them, you'll move beyond belief. You'll move beyond faith into gnosis, direct experience, and you will know something is true. After that, I invite you to go out and just use it everywhere and challenge, try to screw it up. Let me explain that. Try to screw these things up out in the real world and notice how hard it is, right? So that being said, let's talk about, are you in the right place? Is this going to be the best use of your time? Because let's face it, not everybody really thinks that influence and communication and persuasion are important. Some people are just here to, they're on their lunch hour or whatever. So if you can, and by the way, type "that's me" or a yes in your chats if any of the things I'm about to ask you resonate with you. How many of you would like to be more charismatic and attractive to members of the opposite sex or the same sex and make them find you charming, and irresistible and fascinating? Would you like to be the most fascinating person in a room? Cool. How many of you would like to be able to banish fear and insecurity from your life, especially in social contexts where you have to talk to people and you have to actually get people to like you and trust you and follow your lead and want you to be part of their group? If that's something you'd like more of, then by all means, please type yes, that's me in the chat. If you'd like to learn how to protect yourself from manipulators and easily handle difficult people in any situation or circumstance, go ahead and type that in the chat, because that's where we're going tonight. I promise you, if you learn the 3 or 4 techniques that we're going to dive deep into, you'll be able to handle difficult people. You'll get people to tell you how to get them to do exactly what they don't want to do. They'll love you for it, and they will just flock to you when you use these skills. Now, notice what I said. They will flock to you when you use these skills. See, if you'll just sit here and take notes, do a couple drills, and then go eat lunch and forget about the webinar, or don't take advantage of the opportunity for advanced training, then they're not going to help you. I can teach you some of the most powerful techniques in the world that only take minutes, but if you don't actually ever get off your butt and use them, there's no point. You might as well just go, watch the Three Stooges or something, because it's just mental masturbation. So the idea here is I'm giving you these things so that you can use them. Because if you use them, then your life will change. If you don't use them, you might as well not know them. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. So Originator says, I want to master the art of manipulation. Well, that's good. That's fine. And that brings me to something we're going to talk about shortly, but what we call meta definitions, or meta meanings, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. But go ahead, keep typing in the chat. If you'd like to have people thinking, feeling, and acting the way you want them to, so they naturally want to follow your lead, program yourself to create massive financial abundance with all the money, more than enough money to buy the things you want and then some, and cause anyone to like, love, and trust you, nail 2 or 3 job interviews. Does any of this sound familiar? Just if you can say yes to any of that, just type yes. Right? If you'd like to move through the world able to just put the whammy on people in a powerful, positive, ethical way, type that in the chat, because that's where we're going. Okay. Which brings us to the next thing. Everything, and this is the first and most important principle that I'm going to say for the 3rd or 4th time since I started the webinar. Oh, Shane wants Jedi powers. You're on your way, dude. I'm telling you right now, if you follow what I'm going to teach you, Jedi's on the to-do list. Okay. To quote Obi-Wan, you've taken your first step into a much larger universe. You're about to experience the beginning of the Matrix. Okay. It is that powerful. It is that proven. And I've used it so often and so much, I can't not do it. So if you catch me doing it, it's because it's just who I am now, if that makes any kind of sense. But you also have to have a strong ethical and moral code when you're going to move through the world and apply this. So I'm going to tell you right up front, karma does exist, right? And so you should only be using these skills in strict accordance with your own sense of personal standards and ethics, right? Make sure that you're integral and in harmony with what you know to be the right thing to do when you apply these skills. And you'll never have to worry. You'll never have to look over your shoulder. You'll never have to worry about going to heaven or going to hell, so to speak, right? Do these things that are in alignment with your own sense of right and wrong. You'll never go wrong. Okay. And you'll grow. Be prepared for growth. Okay. So that being said, here's what we're going to talk about tonight. If you stay till the end of tonight's webinar, here's some of the things I'm going to be sharing with you. First and foremost, I'm going to share with you the fastest, most powerful, ethical, and honest way to influence anyone to like, love, trust, and perhaps most importantly, obey you. Now, let me put a little parentheses around the obey part, because what's going to happen is if you apply these skills, people are going to do what you want them to do for their own selfish reasons. Now, let me say that again. If you practice what I'm going to share with you tonight, people are just going to naturally feel inclined to do what you want them to do for their own selfish reasons, but they may not do it in exactly the way you expect. They will do what you want them to do their way. And trust me, that is far more powerful than any other approach. When you give people the ability to choose to do what you want them to do their way, they feel no anger, they feel no reactance, they feel zero hostility towards you or manipulated in any way. And this is one of the big things. When people obey you from this using this formula, it's not because they feel forced. It's not like you've overwhelmed them with a confusion induction and overridden their willpower and all. No, they're doing these things because you've shown them a path to get everything that they want simply by doing what you want them to do. And so you'll never get that anger, that resistance, that's, oh, you manipulated me, blah, 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 right? Especially if you remember the honesty line, right? We don't need to cross the honesty line. We never need to lie. We never need to coerce. We never need to undermine a person's willpower, so to speak, okay, to do these things. So I just want to put that out there, because a lot of the reasons that people don't use these skills is because they're afraid that they're going to do something unethical, or they're going to be tricking people. And it's just not true. If you use these skills the way I teach them to you, can you misuse these skills? 100%. Are there people out there that are in fact misusing these skills? 100%. How do you protect yourself against them? Learn these skills, right? The more you know about these skills and how to use them, the more protected you are from them. Okay. So I'm going to teach you how to have people hanging on your every word, how to have them literally salivating to do what you want them to do in any situation or circumstance. I'm going to teach you how to control your emotions and remove resistance to your influence. Okay. How many people have ever been told no in the world when you've asked for something? You've asked people to do something, you've asked them for something, and they said no. What if you could actually take somebody who just told you that they didn't want to do something, and in a space of 5 to 7 minutes, having them actually volunteering to do it? Would that be helpful? Would that be useful? Could you change? Would your life change? Okay, hang on. It's on the to-do list tonight. Okay. Finally, and this is again, if this is the scope of everything there is to learn in the Killer Influence and NLP Ultra systems that I've developed, if this is the scope of everything, we have time for this much. So here's my promise to you guys. Here's my commitment to you. I'm going to take you as far into this world as I can. I'm going to show you in easy, fun drills, skills, and exercises how to do the things that make a difference fast, right? Probably faster than you're comfortable with if you actually do these things. And then I'm going to point you in the direction of how to level up, how to take the next step, how to go from interesting information to maximum persuasion in minimum time. Is that fair? Is it okay for me to do that, to show you how to level up? Yes, yes, or yes, as T. Harv Eker would say. Type it in the chat for me. And I'm big on audience participation. So the more yeses and hands and thumbs up and stuff like that, the more excited I get. Okay. The more you participate in this webinar, the more powerful the experience will be. Excellent. You guys are rocking it. Richard Erasmus, I haven't seen you in forever. All right. Let's see here. All right. So what are some of the things we're going to be covering tonight? First, we're going to start with the secret back door into the human nervous system. This is one simple language tactic that if you employ it, everybody you meet will just start to like you. They will feel so good whenever you communicate with them. They won't want to let you go. This is one of the techniques. It's one of the first things we teach. It's one of the core foundation skills that we base everything on. And then when you get into NLP Ultra, we'll show you the real reason behind why we do this. There's a reason we give to the general public, and then there's layers of reason that we give to the people who actually attend the in-person trainings and the private mastermind sessions and stuff like that. We're going to teach you the most powerful words any human being can hear at any given moment. And we're going to teach you why that is. I'm going to teach you the secrets tonight of emotional bonding and emotional attraction. If you can understand and apply this simple formula, people will just bond to you instantly. They will literally offer you jobs that you might not even qualify for. And you can tell them right up front you don't qualify for it. But the moment you start applying this process, they will, in fact, offer you the job. We've had it happen multiple times. Okay. We're going to teach you the 4 pillars of irresistible hypnotic influence. There's 4 macro categories of influence that will get people to move in the direction you want them to move. Now, each one by itself is extraordinarily powerful. But when you combine them together, you get a gestalt, you get a synergy, a whole that's greater than the sum of the parts. So we're going to talk about those. We won't have time to go deep into any of them, right? But I want you to understand that there's a whole layer of training, and each of these has its own body of techniques that will work individually, but the dynamics of the compliance that you're going to get when you use authority or connection or affinity or acquiescence or attractivity, they're going to be different. They're still going to do what you want, but the dynamics of how that will manifest will shift and change, right? So those are the 4 pillars, by the way, in case you were wondering. Authority, the king; attractivity, the queen; affinity, the princess; and affinity is actually the prince. And then affinity or acquiescence is the princess, right? If you have an understanding of these 4 macro categories, then you can create irresistible influence pretty much anytime you want to. Okay. Finally, we're going to talk about how to remove the resistance to your influence. Like I said before, what if people say no? What if they say, I don't want to do X, I don't want to do this, I don't believe in this, right? You just whip out this one conversational tactic. People will generate their own cognitive and emotional reasons for doing the exact thing that you just told them, or they just told you they didn't want to do. And if you follow the formula, they'll start doing it, right? They'll start moving in the direction you want them to move. Okay. So tonight is all about really learning how to take control, to get the life you want the way that you want it, mastering yourself from the inside and out, starting today. So if you guys are ready to go, let me go ahead and share my screen really quickly. So everything that we're going to teach you tonight is from the CPI/Killer Influence System. The Killer Influence System, again, has been ranked the #1 NLP program in the world since 2020. I've been in the top 2 NLP trainer slots in the world for the last 8 years. I think it's right around 8 years. My math isn't so hot. Okay. And it started with a program called CPI. CPI stands for Conversational Persuasion and Influence. It was my approach to conversational hypnosis. But then I realized as I was developing the CPI system, which I developed for me, not you guys, right? None of this stuff, all this stuff works because I didn't develop it and make it up and create it for you. I created it for me because I had problems I needed to solve. And this is the system I created. So we started with CPI, and that evolved into a sister system that became Killer Influence. Right. So the first thing we need to understand is called the Universal Persuasion Protocol. And I want you guys to write this down. Okay. Step 0, know your outcome. Know your outcome. Know what you want and how you're getting it. Okay. Control your state. Get rapport. We'll talk about rapport a little bit more in depth in just a moment. Use your language skills. Manage the state of the subject. Jump into their process. Link to their criteria and values. Now, when you see the word criteria and values, let me get my little annotation tool here. When you see the word criteria and values, what we're really talking about is, oh, that's not helpful. Learn something new every day. We'll just do it here. What we're really talking about is emotional needs. Okay. So in NLP, when you learn this, if you learn this the way I'm about to teach it to you, which is very rare, by the way, because NLP doesn't emphasize this, we're talking about a person's emotional needs. If you notice that the criteria and values, oops, sorry about that. Right. So you notice that the criteria and values or emotional needs segment here. Oops. I'm learning my way around this this annotation function. So, okay. The emotional needs is right at the center of the persuasion bullseye. So if you look at this, you know your outcome, you control your state, you get rapport, you use your whatever language skills you possess to manage the state of the subject, you jump into their process, and then you bond or link to their emotional needs. If you follow this formula, you will gain the ability to influence people anytime, anywhere, under any circumstance, for any reason. Okay, so everybody get out your pen and paper. Repeat after me. Control, first of all, know your outcome. Control your state, get rapport, use your language, manage the state of the subject, jump into their process, bond to their criteria and values. One more time so you have a chance to write it down. Control your state, get rapport, use your language, manage the state of the subject, bond, jump into their process, bond to their emotional needs or values. One more time with feeling, guys. Control your state, get rapport, use your language, manage the state of the subject, jump into their process, bond to their emotional needs and values. Okay. Is everybody clear on that process? If I'm going to go into the DMV and I need to talk to a clerk, first thing I'm going to do before I approach that clerk is I'm going to observe, and I'm going to say, okay, what's my outcome? Okay. What state do I need to be in? How do I get rapport with that person? What language do I need to use to really reach this person? And how can I use that to manage the state of that person so I can find whatever process that they used to satisfy the emotional needs I want them to satisfy? Okay. That's a little bit, again, I want you to watch this video over and over and over again, come back to it multiple times, right? Level up the skills. If I'm in a nightclub and I see someone that's attractive, first thing I'm going to do is going to control my state. I'm going to connect with that person. I'm going to get rapport. I'm going to manage. I'm going to use the language skills I possess. How many people here, just by a show of hands, in either chat? By the way, shouts out to my YouTube brothers and sisters. Shouts out to my people here in the chat. How many of you hate small talk? Or whenever you go to talk to somebody brand new, you struggle for the right thing to say? Anybody? Type it in the chat. Yes? If you follow what I'm about to teach you, this will never be a problem for you again. What if you always had the exact right thing to say to get people to focus on you, become completely fascinated, connect fully, trust, and just keep talking? And that the longer they talk, the more attracted you become. What if you had that ability? What could you do with that? This is where you type in the chat, print the conversation. Way too much, Makita says, right? Okay. You're about to learn that. I'm going to teach this to you in just a moment, right? It would change my life. Absolutely. All right. So we're on the right track then. Okay. So let me go to, I have to change from PowerPoint to OneNote. So let's talk about how to hack the human nervous system in an ethical, honest way. What I'm about to share with you is the most powerful words any human being can hear at any given moment in time. But before I do that, I need to give you one more experience. All right. So like I said, I can't go through every single nuance of that 6-stage formula. So I have time to drill down on one or two key pieces, but they're going to be key pieces that you're going to take out into the world, and you're going to use them right away, and you're going to come back and learn the rest of it at the next training. Okay. So first and foremost, remember that everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Let me repeat that 2 more times for those of you who are taking notes. And by the way, it's better for you to take notes on a legal pad and physically write it than it is to type it. Okay, I could give you all the neuroscience behind that, but I want you to retain this information so you can take it further, right, in the future. Right now, the most powerful words any human being can hear at any given moment are the words that just came out of their mouth. No, it's not their name. Believe it or not, it's not their name. because you can actually overuse somebody's name. You can't overuse this. Okay. That printer's got it. He nailed it, or they nailed it right on the technique is called the echo technique. So write this down. Echo technique. How to get maximum attention in minimum time. It is by far the most powerful way to communicate with human beings. You don't even have to believe it'll work. If you just use it, people will just start talking and talking and talking and talking. And you can take that information, pull out the parts that you need, feed it back to them within the echo technique, and they will just they will connect with you in ways that are beyond what you can expect. Now, you don't have to believe any of this to do it. Okay. You just got to actually have the chutzpah to do it. Okay. By the way, for those of you who are asking questions, I do see the questions, but if the questions aren't directly relevant or they're going to pull us off topic, then I reserve the right to answer them in the comment section of the YouTube video or wherever this replay is going to be posted. So I'm not ignoring you, but I am trying to stay focused because I have a huge amount of information in a short time to deliver. Okay. The moment you change a person's body feelings, right? The moment you change a person's body feelings, their perceptual filters, the processes they use to sort and create priority in their life, shift and change. Okay. So, let's see if I can give you an example. How many people here have ever bought a car? Just show if you've ever bought a car. Go ahead and type that. Just type me or me in the chat. Okay. Okay. Or how many people have ever played the game Slug Bug or Punch Buggy? If you know that game, go ahead and type that in the chat. Okay. So for those of you who don't know what Slug Bug, Punch Buggy, or have never bought a car is, let me just preface this. My wife is like the ultimate research fanatic. Like if she's going to buy something, she will research every customer service site, everything she can on thing. So if you've ever gone to buy a car or something you're really, really interested in, right? I use a car as an example because it's something that ties into the Punch Buggy example, right? So when you're a kid, right, and you're playing Slug Bug or Punch Buggy, what is that? It's a game. It's a visual game. You're driving in the back seat. You're riding in the back seat with your best friend or your sister or your brother or whatever, and they're looking out the window. And every time they see a Volkswagen Beetle, they shout Punch Buggy or Slug Bug, and they get to give you a Charlie horse or punch you in the arm or whatever. And so by the time you get home, you're limping out of the car because you're all black and blue from getting slugged because you didn't see the Punch Buggy and your friend did. But all of a sudden, when you get out of the car and you're done playing the game, everywhere you look, you see Volkswagen rabbits or bugs, right? Volkswagen Beetles, right? Or if you've got to buy a car and you've done all the research, you've gone from this lot to this lot to this lot, and finally you've done all your due diligence. You trust the dealership that you're getting this merchandise from, right? And you sign the technique, you plunked your credit card down and put the down payment on it or whatever it is you're going to do, right? You get in your car, you're driving home, right? Bebopping around, happy as a clam in your new wheels, or at least new for you, right? That's my bob. I never buy brand new, right? But you look out the side mirror, you look out the other side mirror, you looked out the rear view mirror right in front of you, and every mofo on the planet bought the same car on the same day. How many of you ever had that experience where all of a sudden you see the car you just bought everywhere, right? Welcome to the what we call the emotional refractory period, or the magic of the reticular activating system, right? It's a part of your brain that decides what's important in your field of awareness. And that is directly affected by how you prime it. One of the most powerful ways to prime your reticular activating system is through intense body feelings, okay? Or visual representation. That's why in people who are learning law of attraction and manifestation, they have you do these vision boards everywhere, right? My good friend Chase, when he's helping people get over limiting beliefs, he'll actually have you put a picture on the wall. Like if you're trying to lose weight, you have this picture of a guy or a girl who's super buff, and written across it is the terms "I can't lose weight," right? And the cognitive dissonance of that combined with the stimulation of your reticular activating system actually caused you to neutralize limiting beliefs, right? So yeah, Emotions Revealed is a great book by Dr. Paul Ekman. He has probably one of the best scientific but applicable understandings of the reticular activating system. He calls it the emotional refractory period. Scotty, needs and wants are something we're going to get to. And when you use the echo technique properly, you're going to indirectly stimulate their needs and wants. Okay, that's a layer we can only go into in the live trainings, but it actually starts the moment you start using the echo technique. So it's a great question, Scott. And you're already doing it. Like everything I'm going to teach you, when you realize all the things that this one technique does, you'll understand why I always teach it first and why I keep coming back to it. Because if you truly understand and master the echo technique, you don't need a lot of other things, right? Because it accomplishes so much so quickly. So people asked about the name. The problem with a name is that you can overuse a person's name. If you say a person's name, you're going to get their attention. But if you overuse it, now it flags. And we don't want to be flagged as doing something weird, right? It almost makes you sound a little bit on the spectrum if you're constantly using somebody's name over and over and over again. But the echo technique will have a very, very profound effect, right? I'm going to give you the explanation of that. But what is the echo technique in a very blatant sense? It's very simple. Whatever words a person just spoke to you, when you respond to them, you use those exact words as close to the order and sequence as they came out of their mouth as humanly possible. I'll say it 2 more times. When somebody speaks to you, you use as many of their words in your response as close to the order and sequence that they used as possible. 1 more time, you write this down in a way that makes sense to you. Whenever somebody speaks to you, you use as many of their words in the exact order and sequence as possible in your response. Okay? So there have been many times in my life when I've had to use this technique over the phone. So I showed you at the beginning of tonight's webinar that for many years I was a professional martial artist, and I may go back into martial arts again. I haven't made a full decision yet whether to come out of retirement, if that's any kind of thing. But I would get calls like this. Ring, ring. Good afternoon, Coral Springs Martial Arts Academy. This is David. How can I help you? Oh, hey, David. I saw your sign. And my name is Brenda, and I'm interested in karate lessons for my 10-year-old son, Josh. Oh, hey, Brenda. So you saw our sign, and you're interested in karate lessons for your 10-year-old son, Josh? Yeah. Can you help me? Absolutely, I can help you. Tell me more about Josh and what it is you're looking to get from karate lessons for your son, Josh. Well, David, I'll be honest with you. Josh is a really, really great kid. He's 10 years old. And he's really smart. In fact, he's so smart that his teachers decided to move him up a grade. And he's a kind of a small kid to begin with. And I'm afraid that when he gets around all these other kids, that he's going to get picked on and bullied. And plus, he's in a higher grade. So I was hoping that martial arts could help him, do better in school. Oh, I see. So Josh is a great kid, but he's a little small for his age. So, but he's smart. So smart, in fact, that his teachers actually moved him up a grade. And because he's going to be around all those older kids, you're worried that the kids might pick on him. And you heard that martial arts was a good way to help people do better in school. And you want to see if that can help him. Yeah, David, can you help me? Absolutely, Bernice. Look, when Josh comes in, we're going to teach him some of the most effective and simple self-defense techniques on the planet, things that will allow him to protect himself against bigger kids trying to pick on him. But one of the best things about martial arts, Bernice, is that it develops intense focus, intense concentration, and a true sense of confidence in people so that they can move through the world and do better in school because they're focused, they can concentrate, they're disciplined, and most importantly, they're confident in their abilities to do things and to take care of those potential bullies and things of that nature. So here's the thing, Bernice, we have 2 programs that might be a great fit for Josh. I need you to tell me which one you feel would be the best fit. We have a 2 private, 1 group class introductory package that comes with a free t-shirt. And I also have 2 group classes and 1 private class package available, which also comes with a free t-shirt. I have an appointment today at 5:30 and tomorrow at 6:15. Which would be easier for you? Well, David, I think maybe the 2 private classes and the 1 group class would be a great place to start. Can we come tomorrow? Because then he can have his dinner, he can do his homework, and he'll just, his head will be clear for the class, and he'll get, maybe, it'll help him make a decision as to how far he wants to go. Excellent. So he has, you want him to have his dinner and his homework done tomorrow at 6:15, and I'm going to go ahead and put your information down, and we'll send you a confirmation email, and we'll see you and Josh tomorrow at 6:15. Thank you so much, David. I'm really excited for this. Great. You have a great day, and tell Josh I said hi. Can't wait to meet him. Take care. Click. Okay. Makita says, I definitely would feel like I'm being listened to. Yes. And that is exactly why you do this. Right? You'd be amazed what a free t-shirt will do, regardless of the size of the package. Okay. Again, that's a marketing thing. We'll talk about that on the other side of NLP Ultra next month, or in May rather. All right. So what did you guys notice? Real quick, type in the chat. What did you notice about that, that interaction? As a fly on the wall, how did that make you feel? Go ahead and type it in the chat. So Alan says, easy technique to keep a conversation flowing. Makeda says, you bonded to their needs, 100%. You use their own words. Scotty says, making them feel at ease. Echoing, Cynthia says, right? Aligning on the want, not just the product logistics of what you're selling. Connected to her emotions. Very good. You guys are getting this. You guys are sharp. I like that, right? I know some of you have seen this before. So Jeffrey Holland says, on the phone call, you can summarize that repeating the words was taking notes in person. I'd have a hard time with that. Again, this is one of the reasons, I'll give you a little secret. One of the reasons that we force all incoming students to learn the echo technique verbatim and use it verbatim is because it changes your brain. When you learn how to use the echo technique effectively, your RAM, think about it like a computer. You have short-term memory and you have long-term memory. What if I could just keep adding more and more RAM to your computer, right? More and more short-term memory, right? That's what using the echo technique for days and weeks and months constantly over time does. You'll start to be able to remember longer and longer and longer streams of information verbatim, or as close to verbatim as possible to get. Okay, which makes any other type of linguistic analysis, elicitation, or camouflage, because we actually teach you how to use the echo technique, and people don't even realize how to camouflage it. Like there's levels to it, right? But the reason we teach this to beginners, and it actually seems harder at first, is because if you do it verbatim, it's impossible to screw up. If you do it verbatim, it's impossible to miss something, right? Because in the words that the person speaks are secret pockets of emotion that link directly to their needs and desires. Direct connections, right? And if you're only cherry picking the words that you use without the ability to pull out the words that are important, you're going to miss the radioactive nuggets. But if you just use everything, it's impossible for you to miss what's important. If you understand what I just said, in your own words, type that in your chat so I know you've got it. I'll wait. Oh shit, he's making us do work. Damn it, I thought I was just going to sit here and just veg out for 90 minutes or 2 hours. No, sorry. You came to learn, you're going to learn. You learn by doing. Admin says, got it. All right. NLP Mia. Okay. Anybody else? You guys are typing away, right? Jeffrey says, use the technique verbatim when just beginning to make it impossible to screw up. There you go. Dade says, I understand. Yes. Scotty says, it's important not to miss the important stuff. Absolutely. Now, what'll happen the longer you use the echo technique, as your brain evolves and changes, you'll start to notice subtler and subtler nuances in the way they speak their words. And all of a sudden, this one little turn of phrase will just pop out at you. And you'll know instinctively that's the word. And you just overuse that word. Okay? So again, the idea here is I'm not here to make you a PhD, which stands for piled higher and deeper, in persuasion. I'm here to make you an operator. I'm here to make you an agent who can go out into any situation and circumstance. And even if you're not aware of all the cool neuroscience behind a technique that makes it work, you can do that technique and get your result. You have your whole life to learn the neuroscience and the biochemical processes and the parts of the brain you're stimulating. You have your whole life to do that. What you don't have is the time to get good. So I'm going to make you good first so you can get your outcome. And then if you want to learn why what you do works, then you can come back and learn all the academic and scientific, sciencey stuff. All right. Aisha says, when you speak someone's language, you have built a rapport right there. Yes. Okay. All right. So let's go through the didactic part of this really quick. I'm going to go as fast as I can, but hopefully it's landing enough for you, because I want to have another drill I want us to do before we get into part 2. Okay. Let me move this up a little bit. All right. Now, here's one of the reasons why we want to use the echo technique. First and foremost, it is the most powerful way to communicate with another human being. If God could design the exact biological, neurological, psychological, and spiritual way for one human being to communicate with another, it would be called the echo technique. Okay? Right? When you use the echo technique, it literally forces a person's neurology to pay attention to you to the exclusion of all else. Write this down. Attention is the currency of relationships. Okay? Attention is the currency of relationships. It forces them to focus exclusively on you. Increased focus leads to increased suggestibility. In other words, they become more open. You guys following me so far? Ability. Sorry. Okay. The next. I'm going to jump down to this highlighted one here. When you use the echo technique, it primes your target to keep talking and to voluntarily give you more and more information about themselves at the same time. Remember, part of the job of being an influencer is to be a profiler. It's the ability to read your subject, to read your target, so you know exactly what buttons to press in an ethical and honest way. Richard says it works if your girlfriend has a PhD. Absolutely. The more academic they are, oh my God, they're suckers for this in a good way, right? Now, why does this prime your target to keep talking? Well, and it eliminates the problem of making small talk and eliminate boring conversations. Why does it do that? It does that because it sends very powerful signals of sameness to the listener, right? When a person gets their very own words reflected back to them, what's interesting is that the moment those words come back, they feel heard. They feel understood. They feel like, oh, wow, this person understands what I'm trying to communicate. This person gets me, right? That creates a feeling in that person known as validation, a feeling of being accepted, approved of, and it allows them to feel safe. And because you're talking to them about their most favorite topic themselves, they bond to you. They experience an intense pleasure and connection when they communicate with you. Now, you'll remember at the beginning of the webinar, I said there are 4 elements of irresistible hypnotic influence: authority, attractivity, affinity, and acquiescence. Affinity is triggered by sameness and validation. When I feel safe, accepted, oh, this person is like me, you want to open up and share with them. And people move through the world desperate for that feeling. That's why all the social media, it's the dopamine rush for sure, but what are they actually looking to get from all that social media interaction? Attention and validation, approval. And when a person gets that, they connect completely and they don't want to let go. Right? You follow me? So there's another lever of suggestibility called openness and connection. There's 2 different ones. You're going to lever those up at the same time. Same technique now. Same technique is going to generate focus. It's going to generate connection. It's going to generate openness. But it's going to do something else that only my friend Chase talks about. And that is novelty. And what does that mean? Nobody, with very few exceptions, in that person's entire life has ever communicated into them in a way that made them feel the way you're now making them feel. Let me say that 2 more times. With very few exceptions, nobody has ever communicated to your subject the way that you're communicating with them and making them feel the good feelings that they're feeling. That is a novel or a new experience. And novelty will leverage up all the suggestibility levers as well. Okay, do you see why this one, and I haven't even covered the NLP side of it yet, right? The moment you start using that echo technique, suggestibility goes up, connection goes up, openness goes up, focus goes up, and they will completely pay attention to you and nobody else. Because attention is the currency of relationships and it primes them to continue talking. They're going to continue to give you more and more information that you can use. They'll do 80, 90% of the talking, come away from that experience and think, man, that was the most fascinating person I've ever talked to. And you said virtually nothing original. If you say something wrong, if you just go back to echoing what they said, they'll forget the wrong thing that you said. You guys see how this one technique changes the game? Tell me your takeaway from this. Right? What's your big takeaway? In a very short 1 or 2 sentence paragraph. What's the takeaway here? It is simple. This is so, and here's the thing. It is so simple and yet so powerful, it should be illegal. But it's also completely ethical and honest, right? Again, don't believe me because I told you so. Believe it because you've used it and proved. How many people here, by a show of hands in either chat, how many of you have used this echo technique out in the world? Type me and then what you experienced. Just type that in so people can see. Arsham says, I agree, and I've seen this and tested this myself. But what if someone doesn't want to open up that easily? Great question. What if someone doesn't want to open up that easily? You reflect back to them whatever they said, and then decide if the person's worth investing in. Okay. You just, when someone is refusing to connect, what's happened in many cases is you've triggered defensiveness in them. They have a higher level of defensiveness. They're going to take longer. That ice is going to take longer to thaw. You just need to slow down, use whatever words and gestures that they give you, and just be more patient. Okay. Now, here's the downside to using the echo technique. Well, here's the upside to the echo technique. It's going to make them like, love, and trust you. They will feel heard, understood. It's going to raise your validation in their level of validation feelings, which are linked to you. It's going to raise your status and authority in their eyes. It's going to match every internal filter that they have for figuring out what's right and desirable in their world. Now, here's the downside. It's going to make you feel your listener heard and understood. It's going to raise their validation level, your social status in their eyes, and they're going to hang on your every word. Why is that a bad side? Because if you use this on the wrong person, in other words, you didn't profile them well, or you use it in a way that's disrespectful to the environment. In other words, you're at a diner or a restaurant and it's crowded and it's full of people, right? And you start echoing your server. And all of a sudden, they start bringing you free desserts. They start spending more and more time at your table. And all of their other customers are being ignored. Why? Because they like you better. Don't believe me. Talk to the people who've used this. This shit happens all the time. So it's a high quality problem. But you have to remember what you're learning is super powerful. Yes, it's simple. It's very easy to do if you're willing to do it. But it's super powerful. And if you don't use it if you don't respect the ramifications of what you're using, you might cause somebody to get in trouble who you just wanted to like you more, right? Jeffrey says servers are a great way to practice it. Yes, absolutely. And I recommend that you do that. Hey, your job now is to move through the world, making everyone you meet just feel ridiculously good, heard, and understood just because they encountered you. As you get better and better at these materials, when you graduate from Killer Influence or an NLP Ultra, you'll be able to move through the world and just fix people, give them a better day, and they'll never know you did anything. Right? Shane says, I always call this the bullshit technique. Right? I don't know why he calls it the bullshit technique. Maybe because it makes you a great bullshitter. But yeah, Richard says, I used it in 2024. Right? I've been using this. God, I think I've actually been using it longer than I haven't been using it. Like I'm going to be 58 in a couple weeks, right? And I think I've been using it longer than I haven't. I think I've actually passed that milestone. Scotty says, I'm sure I've used it without knowing it. Matthew says, I did. You get a lot of yeses or exactly. Madi says, I got a free cookie. Bruce says, I did it and it worked. Benjamin Larson says, can someone remind me of those 4 A's? Authority, attractivity, affinity, acquiescence. Aisha says, happy birthday in advance. Thank you. All right. So echo technique, first of all, control your state, get rapport, use your language, manage the state of the subject, jump into their process, bond to their emotions. Here's the best part. The echo technique, if you just use it the way I'm teaching it to you on this webinar, if you just use it the way I've taught you, you will automatically get rapport. You will automatically be using the language techniques. You will automatically be managing the state of the subject. You will automatically be jumping into their processes, and you will automatically be stimulating their emotional needs. And repeat that one more time. If you just use the echo technique, you will automatically be building rapport. You will automatically be using the most effective language possible for them. You will be managing their state because you're going to be moving the suggestibility levers to the right. Remember, focus, openness, connection, novelty, suggestibility, right? And you will be linking and stimulating their own emotional needs. Okay, close your eyes for a moment. By the way, when I say close your eyes, don't close your eyes unless if you're driving or operating heavy equipment or something like that. But stop for a moment and imagine that you met someone, right? Someone who, when they spoke to you, you instantly felt like they understood you, like they saw your heart, they knew your heart. And when you spoke, and when you spoke to them and they spoke back to you, you feel like this person really gets me. This person understands me and knows me better than anybody else. And approves of me, right? This person believes in what I'm saying. I want to tell them more. And you feel that connection, right? If you had someone who made you feel that way every time you looked at them or talked to them or heard their voice, whether it was in your head or through a video or an email or whatever, you heard their voice and they gave you those feelings. Let me ask you a question. What would you not do to spend as much time with them as humanly possible? Think about it for a moment. Imagine that for a moment with me, right? What was that? What's that like? What would you do for this person? What would you do to spend more time with this person? Really think. Scotty says nothing. Aisha says, I would do everything. Exactly. How would your life change if you could become this person? What if you were that person? And you could make everyone you meet feel that way. That's where you're going. That's the kind of person you're on the path to becoming. And all you have to do is start applying the formula. Know your outcome, control your state, get rapport, use your language, manage the state of the subject, link to their process, bond to their emotions. One technique does all five. The echo technique, the one you just learned. So your game for the next week to 2 weeks, until I see you again, is to go out into the world and use this technique everywhere, on everybody, for every reason possible. And notice what happens. Now, here's the secret to making this unbeatable. So write this down. All you have to do to make this the most ethical, honorable, and loving communication tool on the planet is just be curious and ethical and authentic. So let me explain that. Every now and then, let me just tell you how to start. This is how I want you to be now. I want you to move through the world understanding that the echo technique on a neurological, energetic, emotional, values level is the most desirable way the most pleasurable way for one human being to communicate with another human being. Okay? Understand that. When you use the echo technique, you're actually giving them the secret feelings and experiences they've been looking for in every interaction. And if you understand that and you're moving through the world intentionally doing two things. A, wanting to understand the person you're talking to as powerfully, as quickly, and as deeply as humanly possible, and giving them the experience of being fully heard and understood and approved of and validated. If you're coming from that authentic place inside of you and you're using it that way, it will amplify everything you're doing. But here's the most important part. Every now and then, somebody who has like an extra layer of defensiveness or an extra layer of suspicion or sensory acuity, or maybe they're trained by me or something like that, they're going to catch that you're using their exact words. Okay? And they're going to call you on it. All you have to do is look at them and in a sincere way, convey to them, hey, look, I'm doing this because I know it's the most powerful and effective way for one human being to communicate with another human being. And I just want you to realize that I'm doing that so I can understand you better. Is that okay? Now, any rational human being on the planet will say yes, that is fine. Okay? It only becomes a trick or a tactic or a manipulation If somebody calls you on it, you stop doing it. Because now the moment you stop doing it, you've bought into their frame that this is somehow some kind of a trick that you're pulling. I don't want this to be a trick that you pull. I want this to be your standard operating procedure for dealing with humans, period. If you adopt this and the rest of the system, if you adopt this as your way of dealing with humans going forward, building all of your communications off this skeleton, then everyone you meet will just like you. Okay, they will feel a connection to you, and they won't always know why. And it's impossible to get caught. Not because they won't hear their words, because you're not doing anything unethical. You're not doing anything tricky or sneaky. You're giving somebody the exact things they need to feel fulfilled by interacting with you. And human beings, especially after the COVID lockdown, Makita, it works powerfully well in any form of linguistic communication. Makita is asking, I'd love to know if it works in emails. 100%. It works in email. It works in chat. It works in Zoom. It works over the phone. It works any place that human language is passing back and forth. Okay? This is a multimedia phenomenon. Okay? Now, this process or analogy, this process is analogous to it, have been validated by Chris Voss. They've been validated, obviously, by NLP. They've been validated by Stanford research. They've been validated by the therapeutic community, David Grove in Clean Language. Okay. There is no webinar. Well, there will be a webinar, I think, in a couple of weeks, and there'll be an email for that, Aisha. Okay. But you probably want to come to the training. All right. So I'm curious, just so I understand you better. What if they're, what's your big takeaway? What are the top 2 or 3 things that you've gotten from the class so far? I'm curious. Just type it in the chat. If you make someone feel heard, they'll love you. Yes, actually, more often than not. Echo technique and how it relates to and help it. Echo technique, RAS, and priming. Very good. Okay. Anybody else? All right. For our next tactic, echo is the king. If all you learned was the echo technique today, I've just leveled you up. I've just put you ahead of the competition by a lot. Taking advantage of the emotional experience. Very good. Good. Filling that empty hole in humans that they always needed. Excellent. You guys are good. Very nice. Well done. I like that. All right. So this next drill is going to be very experiential. And then we're going to go into phase 2. We're going to show you how to level up, how to connect to their needs. Yes. Attention is the currency of relationships. Connectivity. Very good. Vain pageantry just arrived. Have I been listening to you for years? Could I ask a question? You can ask a question. I can't promise to answer it simply because we've got a track to be on. Okay, very good. All right. What if we could take whatever we offer to somebody, in other words, ourself, a product, a service, and speak to somebody in such a way that they would literally be salivating to take action with us? What would your life be like if people would just ask you to buy your product or service, or beg you to go out to dinner with them, or get excited about doing their homework or taking out the trash and things of that nature? What could you do with the ability to emotionally bond to somebody and get them excited about that? Emotional attractiveness for them. Basically anything, Makita says. Yes. That's about as close as it gets. Okay. Without overtly brainwashing somebody, what you're about to learn is probably the single, besides the echo technique, the single most powerful transformation and motivation technique that I've ever come across. And I have tried to find a technique that's more powerful than this, and it just isn't out. I haven't found it yet. Okay. Now, there are ways to make this technique more powerful, but in terms of its sheer ability to move all the needles, this is the single biggest one. So this is called the emotional bonding checklist. The emotional bonding checklist. Okay. There's two versions of this. There's one that you use with other people, and there's one that you use with yourself. Okay. We're going to do the one that you do with yourself so you can become fully motivated, inspired, and take the next step in your life. Would that be okay? Is it okay to learn that? How to do that? Yes or yes? Okay. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here. So here's the secret. The emotional bonding checklist uses a variation of the echo technique. Okay. In other words, it involves me asking a couple of questions, paying attention to the response that I get, and then using those words and linking them to what I want them to offer. So if you go back and you watch the replay and you listen, I don't know if I did it with this one, but in earlier iterations of my webinars, when I ask, you'll hear me ask Bernice, if you go back to the echo technique demo, I say, what's important to you about karate lessons for your 10-year-old son, Josh? The magic question is, what's important about fill in the blank? What's important about fill in the blank? Okay. So write that down, put it off to the side for now. I'm going to give you the nomenclature, and then we're going to do the drill, and then we're going to move into phase 2. Is that okay? Can we do that? So you're going to want to write this down. Okay. All right. So let me share my screen. All right. How to emotionally bond your subject to you, your product, your service, or anything else you want them to do. Okay. If you apply this properly, people will automatically want to do whatever you want them to do for their own reasons. This is the best part, and this is something you need to understand. If you want to get everything that you want in life, the fastest, ethical, and most honest way to do it is to show people how to get everything they want in their life by doing what you want them to do. Okay. Now, again, we'll learn more about this in NLP Ultra and Killer Influence. But one of the things that I want to tell you about is that when we start talking about criteria, and we talk about criteria and values, what we're really talking about are emotional needs. Okay. If you're talking to some, like in a dating or attraction context, and you're eliciting somebody's values for the perfect partner or the best first date or whatever, and they tell you the kind of person that they're naturally attracted to, right? There's going to be emotions connected to the words that they use. We call that criteria and values. You have to embody the value. In other words, if somebody says, for example, if you're talking to someone you find attractive and they say, well, I want somebody who's athletic and adventurous and likes to try new things, right? So they've given you adventurous, athletic, likes to try new things. That's your echo technique right there, right? Boom. So when you think about, so I'm curious about something, adventurous, athletic, that means different things to different people, right? So just so I understand you better, right? How do you know when someone's adventurous? Oh, well, they go to new places and they try different things and they do things that are exciting and fun. Okay, so they do things that are exciting and fun. I'm curious, what's important about people who like to do exciting things that are exciting and fun? Well, life's never dull. It's always fun. There's always a new challenge, a new adventure. Oh, okay. So as you go, so when we're going out, as long as you feel challenged and we're having fun and feeling adventure, that's going to be cool for you, right? Excellent, right? So what did I just do there? I said, what do you find attractive? They said adventurous, athletic. What was the last one? Fun? Oh no, it wasn't fun. It was Try and I know. But so I started with my echo technique, but then remember, sometimes we think we know what those words mean, but we don't. We don't know what it means to that person. So we have to mine. How do you know when someone's adventurous? Oh, they go to new places, they try new things, right? So they've just given me more words to echo, but now I know what's going to excite them, right? So I say, well, when we go out, every time we go out, we're going to go new places. We're going to try different things. And it's going to be one adventure after the other. I love going on adventures. There was this one time at band camp. Right? Did again, some of this you'll catch, some of it you won't. I used their words. I linked what I was going to do to those words. And then I started to launch into a story about an adventure that I had. Did you see the formula? Echo, criteria, values, story. Right? Again, come to the training in a couple months and I'll teach you all the nuances of this. Benjamin caught the American Pie reference. Very good. Right? So I'm going to give you today a skeletal framework, a very simple formula that you follow, that you're going to experience and apply to yourself and feel it and act on it. Then I want you to take this out into the world and use it with as many different people as you can. And if you do it the way I'm teaching you, you'll make more money, you'll have more clients, you will have less sales objections, you will find the exact hot buttons people need to want to do the things you want them to do, and your need to have to argue with people is just going to go right out the window. I see we have a fan of Gary Kleiman's in the list there. Gary's crazy. I like him. Actually, Makeda, this will absolutely help with your active listening. However, I would recommend that you test this and prove it to yourself one way or the other. Alternate between echo technique and values elicitation or emotional bonding and active listening and emotional bonding, and notice which one's more effective on the clients. The more you try to paraphrase, this is for her, or Makeda specifically, the more you try to paraphrase or replace another person's words, the more barriers you set up to connection. If this goes off topic, how do you get on the training? Mia, would you post the early bird sign up link for people? So the people want to get in on that, they can do that. All right. So are you guys ready for this drill? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do all right, I'm going to have to change the screen again. Hold on real quick. All right, get out a piece of paper and a pen. And when you've done that, type ready in the chat. Don't worry, I'll wait. It's okay. All right. On the top of your page, in fact, let's just do this together. Screw this. Let's just do this together. Okay. Let me start a new page here. On the top of your sheet, emotional motivation checklist. On the top of your sheet, I want you to write, what do I want as a byproduct, or what do I want to take away from this training? And I want you to write the answer in. Now, here's the secret to this. Pay attention to what pay attention to the exact words your mind uses. Okay, so you might say, what do I want from today's webinar? I want to be able to connect with people more fully. Right? So this is your answer. I'm going to highlight the answer, right? So what do I want to get from this training? Then you're going to ask, what's important about connecting with others? No, or connecting with people. Sorry, let me change that. Notice what I did here. Besides doubling up on about, I used the exact words. What's important about connecting with people more fully? And your spontaneous answer might be, I feel safe, or validated, accepted, right? It could be any of these words, whatever they are. I want you to write them down, right? Again, this is an example. Whatever your selfish desire is from this webinar, I want you to use that to answer this question up here. And then I want you to ask yourself, what's important about that? What's important about that, right? Once you have that, you say, okay, if you were to feel, or if I were to feel, whatever, what's important to me about that? And answer that question. So maybe, what's important to me about feeling safe? Well, then I can relax and be happy, right? But what if what I want to get from this training is what if my answer is, I want to make a lot of money? That's fine. What's important to me about making a lot of money, right? And it might be freedom, freedom to do the things I want to do. Right? And then I might say, what's important about having the freedom to do the things I want to do? And write that answer verbatim. So if you've done this right, you should have at least 3 answers to the what's important about question. When you've done that and you're ready to proceed, type done and ready in the chat. And I'm going to give you a little template here. Okay, so you should have, cool. So you should have at least asked yourself this question 3 or 4 times. And you should have those answers in front of you. Here's the next part. I'm going to jump out of my screen for this next part. And then I'll come back and let you guys do a screen capture in part 3. So the next thing I want you to do is I want you to take that sheet of paper. I want you to stand up. I want you to stand up. I want you to hold that paper up at about a 45-degree angle. And I want you to read the answers verbatim to the answers to those 4 questions verbatim out loud 5 times. Before you do, scan your body, notice how your body feels, notice how your emotions feel. And now after you read these out loud, Scan your body once again and notice what's changed and tell me what you discover. Go ahead and do that now. When you're done, type done in the chat. Aisha says ready. Julian says all done. I know I'm making you guys work today. Done, Cynthia says, good. Anthony says ready. All right. What happened when you read just the answers to the what's important about question out loud? What happened in your mind, in your body? More emotional, more emotional than anticipated? Very good. Aisha says, felt good. I validated myself. Felt like I have what I need. Very good. Now, what if you could give this a kind of an experience to every single person who felt like I'm manifesting? You are. It changed for sure. Right? What if you could give this experience or even more powerful experience to everyone you interact with? What if you could have all of your patients, family members, clients, subjects feeling like this about you or your product or your service? They would love me forever, you think? Okay. So, are you guys ready to get the whole enchilada? Are you guys ready to level up and move forward? Because as you apply those feelings to what I'm about to share with you next, I want you to realize that this is the path you're looking for to have all that and more. If you're ready, go ahead and type that in the chat. Okay, excellent. So I'd like to present to you, with your permission, the Secrets of Human Influence Ultra Persuasion Mastery Home Study Course. This is a special multi-package program that I've put together to help you level up, to help you move forward, and to build on the powerful techniques that I've shared with you so far. And it's the whole course. I've given you bits and pieces of the system, and you can see what those pieces can do. What happens when you add it together in a way that multiplies everything, right? So Anthony says, affiliate marketing with William, I felt more confident, 100%. Anthony says, ready, right? Fire, absolutely. Remember, this is the worst you'll ever be at it. This is only going to get stronger the more you do this and follow this training, right? So this is all about helping you take your life to the next level. It's about making more money, closing more deals, getting more dates, helping more people, feeling more confident, powerful, credible. In other words, it's about wielding power in your life in a way that people actually love you for it. It's about owning your own life, right? And taking it to the next level. If life were a game, it'd be all about how do you win? How do you get the edge in an ethical, honest way that when you look in the mirror, you feel tremendously good about the choice you've made to go for this training, right? It's about becoming more charming, charismatic, and irresistible. It's just how things work. Right? So here's what I put together for you. Now, this offer is only good today, April 10th, 2024. And you'll understand why as I continue to go forward. If people already know they want to do this, you can ask nicely. Monster Mia will put the link in the chat. But I recommend that you grab this early and grab this now. And here's what you're going to be getting. We're going to start with the Secrets of Human Influence Home Study Package. This is a version of our Killer Influence training. It's 17 videos that includes and it gives you a deep dive into the 7-stage Universal Persuasion Protocol, the CPI and Killer Influence Model, the #1 NLP training process in the world. is going to be the very first thing that you learn, and then it's just going to get more powerful. We're going to teach you specifically how to think like a master of influence. Remember, there's two different ways to communicate. There's ways to communicate with people that allow you to convey information, and there's ways to communicate with people that cause things to happen. We're going to show you the difference between those so that you get to choose which kind of a person you need to be at any given moment. It's a $297 value. Then we're going to teach you how to control your own psycho-emotional state at will, on demand, anytime, any place, so nobody can push your emotional buttons without your permission for very long, ever again. Some of you were talking earlier, you mentioned Jedi skills. This is the Jedi module. It's module 2 of the first day of your training. Okay. And this is where we teach you how to tap into the power of your own mind, body, and breath so that you can enter any emotional state, whether it's confidence, connection, love, flirtatiousness, gregarity, hilarity, sadness, whatever. You can go into it at will. You can come out of it at will. You can move seamlessly from any emotional state to any other emotional state. And the best part is you can modulate that state. Like you had it on a dimmer switch. You can turn the energy up. You can turn the energy down. And then you can connect to other people's nervous systems using our power rapport skill training and take those emotions and stimulate their nervous system to change their emotional refractory period so that they become more open to your influence. They start seeing the world through the eyes you want them to see the world through so that they become more naturally predisposed to doing what you want them to do. In other words, you will have the ability with the power rapport training to connect verbally, non-verbally, consciously, and unconsciously with anyone, anytime, anywhere, under any circumstance, for any reason, and control that connection. Okay, it's a $297 value, but when you think about it in the context of your life, it's way more valuable than that, right? Next, we're going to teach you the most powerful, irresistible hypnotic language patterns that exist. Patterns that allow you to control a person's awareness, what they pay attention to and what they ignore, that allow you to make anything you want, cause anything you want in the mind of your subject or subjects. Anybody reading your texts, anybody listening to your voice, anybody watching you on video. Any place that human language is involved, these patterns will work on any human being with a pulse and a heartbeat. Okay, so we start with the echo technique, and then we'll teach you about how to manage awareness. We'll teach you how to manage cause and effect in the minds of the subject in a way that it becomes absolutely irrefutable for most people to resist. Okay, we'll teach you how to make anything you want mean anything you want in the minds of your subject, so that people automatically assign the meanings to things that you want them to have, not that they arbitrarily assign. And they'll think it was their idea. We'll teach you how to make the movies a person runs in their own mind and body exactly, perfectly, completely what you want and desire, with absolutely zero chance of a mistake or a misinterpretation, right? That's just 5 of the patterns that you'll be learning. Okay, there's 3 or 4 more that will make you absolutely unstoppable. Okay, we're going to teach you in a very deep and powerful experiential way how to manage the emotional states of others so that you can take anybody from wherever emotional state they're at and move them to any other state you want in just minutes. It's a $297 value, but I think you can see what we can do with that. We're going to teach you how to hijack or jump into somebody's own internal behavior code. Now, what does this mean? It means that whenever your body or your mind or your brain specifically is about to engage in a particular behavior, there are certain parts of your brain that activate in a specific order and sequence. And that order and sequence comes out and is hidden in the way a person speaks. You'll learn how to find that secret code and use it to influence people at an amplified level. It's a force multiplier. People will tend to automatically do what you want them to do because it just feels like the right thing for them to do. It's a $297 value. Add to that now the ability to reach in and grab a person's emotional needs and weld them powerfully, bond them powerfully to everything you want to do or want them to do, so that they ask you to go to the next level with you. Okay. They'll ask you to buy the package. They'll ask you to join the training. They'll ask you to go out on a date, right? They'll just because they'll want to do it for themselves, right? Just like you want to do things for your own reasons, they will too. You'll also get a 240 plus page manual called the Killer Influence Mind Control Manifesto. And this has extra training on how to manipulate and manage spatial relationships, where to sit at a conference meeting so that you have the most authority, how to make people feel absolutely connected to you, like you, and trust you just by how you stand in relation to their dominant or non-dominant sides, how to use your environment to prime people to be more open and emotionally warm to you, or if you need to, how to subvert the influence of your enemies so that when they try to argue or fight you in any way, they're coming from a psychologically and emotionally weakened position so that you can triumph and win every single time. And you can do it in an ethical, honest way. That's the best part. We'll talk about the online community in just a few moments. Total value on this package is $2,497, but we're not going to stop there because I want you to have the best training humanly possible. I want you to take this all the way to its limit. Okay. Anthony says continuous access to the 17. Yes, they're yours to keep forever. You can download them or stream them right from the website. Okay. So you can just click that link if you want to get one of the early birds. But we're also going to include, if you click that link right now, okay, this is not a commercial. This is phase 2 of our webinar. And there is a phase 3 after this, Jay. Okay. This is for people who want to take it to the next level. I'm getting it out of the way so that people can make that decision to go forward. And then we're going to come back and we're going to customize the rest of the training to your specific needs and wants. That's what we said at the beginning of the webinar. That's the promise we made. That's the promise we're going to keep. Okay. So for those of you, who want to take this even further, who maybe aspire to do the things I'm doing someday, right, at the level that I'm doing them, these are probably going to be some of the most important special bonuses that you come across today. Okay. The first is called Weapons of Mass Instruction. Now, earlier I taught you that the single most powerful technique to influence any particular human being is the emotional bonding checklist. And that's true. But there will be times when you can't, when you need to influence and motivate people as a large group. And that's where this comes in. This is called Weapons of Mass Instruction, Scientific and Seductive Storytelling Secrets. This program is based entirely upon the neuroscience of stories and how it affects the neurology of the human brain and the influence of narrative persuasion. The most powerful cross-contextual, cross-cultural influence technique that we have is stories and metaphors. Okay. This course will pull back the curtain on exactly why story works, how it works, how you can use it, and how you can literally use this to work, to talk to people who have diametrically opposed ideologies or viewpoints and have them become more and more sympathetic to your perspective, your position. All right. Let me give you a little bit of backstory. I'm going to come out of, if it's okay, I'm going to come out of my PowerPoint for a moment just to share this with you. Okay. For many, many years, I had heard from many, many teachers that storytelling and metaphor was the most powerful influence tool that exists. If you've studied any of Milton Erickson's work, then you'll hear that. But every time I went to a storytelling workshop, all I got was the same tired stuff. I either got confusing stories about tomato plants and how they can have feelings, or I got a version of the hero's journey. And I was like, I don't see how this works. I don't see how this is useful. right? And so I realized after going through like 5 or 6 courses on various forms of storytelling, all teaching in some way the same stuff that was just not user friendly, I realized something that has been a truism in my life, that if I wanted something that was immediately useful and that I could take into any situation or circumstance, I was going to have to create it. And so I went right to the science, right? I went to corporate storytelling. I went to sales storytelling. I went to advanced neuro storytelling. In fact, one of the best books you can pick up is called Resistance and Persuasion by Dr. Eric Knowles. Much of the information in this course is based on what I learned from his studies on the effects of storytelling on the human nervous system. People will automatically go into trance the minute you even hint that there's a story about to be told. And that's where it just gets better from there. So this program is designed into several sections. The first is the neuroscience of storytelling. This is how story works. This is what it does. This is what you can expect to happen under the hood the moment you start saying, it reminds me of a time when, or let me tell you a story, or you hint that once upon a time. Any of those words will trigger a neurological entrainment cascade of processes that is unavoidable. The only way to avoid it is to leave the room. Okay? So this is where it starts. If you've ever seen guys like T. Harv Eker or Mark Victor Hansen or Lisa Sasevich or Simon Sinek or who's another good one that does a lot of stories? Eker, T. Harv Eker. He tells a few stories, and within a few hours, people are rushing to the back of the room to buy everything. This is that training. It's all about the use of story, not just for what it does on its own, but what it can be used to do with other things. You can use story to insert 5 to 10 different other persuasion tactics and techniques in the narrative that prime and accelerate and amplify everything else. And we teach you those tactics too. So the first one is the first module is the neuroscience of storytelling and metaphor. The second is connecting with stories. How to tell little short stories at the line at Starbucks, waiting in line to go to the movie theater that instantly bond you with people and connect them, and how that dovetails with your 3 magic questions. Next is the neuroscience of alpha stories. Alpha stories are persuasion and motivation strategies. So if you went to a sales training or a motivational strategy or leadership training where they get you motivated, inspired, these alpha stories are alpha techniques or strategies are things that amplify persuasion push. They make you more persuasive in terms of getting people pushed towards a particular outcome. Then you're going to learn about omega stories. And omega stories are where things really start to shift, right? One of the things we'll teach you in alpha stories is that like 10 or 12 stories are kinds of stories that you absolutely must learn to tell. We'll talk about that. Omega stories are different. Omega stories or omega strategies are persuasion strategies that remove resistance to influence. In other words, if I have to push a filing cabinet, right, and it's loaded with bricks, right, and I try to push it and I try to push it and I can't move it, an alpha strategy would be me going and getting more people to grab it and push with me. It adds more push to the signal or to the message. Does that make sense? But an omega strategy is different. An omega strategy removes resistance. One of the reasons that filing cabinet, metaphorically speaking, is so hard to move is because of the gravity of it, but also because of the friction it has with the ground, the resistance. So if I take some rollers or some lubricant like oil and I spread it on the ground in front of that filing cabinet, now I can quite possibly easily move or more easily move the filing cabinet by myself. It didn't make me more persuasive, didn't give me more power in terms of making my push stronger. It reduced the resistance that a person has to taking action, to going for what you want. And so when you remove the resistance, you take off like a rocket. That's what omega strategies and omega stories are. We'll give you a full training on that, right? We'll even give you a checklist. These are the elements that you have to build into a story that maximize its transportational impact. Transportation is a word used to define the level of trance that a person experiences when they listen to a story. And if you have this questionnaire and this checklist of elements, you can create stories, use them with focus groups, and test your stories before you have to actually use them in the field, and come up with the best version of that story. Now we're going to take all that, and we're going to tell you how to use a story. Now we're going to take to level 5 or 6, which is ninja stories. And ninja stories are using stories as a way to deploy other tactics. So if you've come from a conversational hypnosis or an NLP background or a NCI background, you may have heard of things like embedded commands or IU shifts or semantic priming, things of that, nested loops, things of that nature, right? Those are things that you embed within the structure of a story that, on top of its natural trance-inducing effect, make it even more powerful. So we're going to teach you how to build them, the neurology behind it, and then how to use those stories as a delivery mechanism for more advanced persuasion and influence techniques. So if you're dealing with people covertly, where you want to help somebody, but they're just not open directly to working with you, you can start to tell stories in this way and prime them for change, right? So if you deal with a lot of resistance in any way, shape, or form, this is a really powerful way to install new programmings in an ethical, honest way. Okay, so that's weapons of mass instruction, right? That's what you're getting. It comes with a manual. It comes with I forget how many videos are in the course, but it's a lot. Okay, and you can do this with any group of people, regardless of whether they're all native English speakers or not. So yeah, that's weapons of mass instruction. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free, 100% free, if you're one of the next people to click that link and reserve your Secrets of Human Influence home study course. Total combined value is $4,494, but we're not done yet. We're also going to include these powerful bonuses. Bonus number 2, Renegade Reframing. I love this one. This is one of my favorite CPI courses to teach. What if for every argument you got into, what if for every no that you heard, what if for every limiting belief that you had, or the people that you love or care about or want to influence had, you had at least 14 different ways to just completely obliterate that objection, win the argument, and get people saying yes to you? What could you do with that kind of ability? That's exactly what your Renegade Reframe training is all about. Renegade Reframing is derived from an NLP subsystem known as sleight of mouth. Sleight of mouth was a discovery by a man named Robert Dilts, who was observing Richard Bandler. Bandler would get up in front of his trainees and he would say, okay, I believe this, this, and this. Change my belief, interrupt my pattern, right? And so his master pracs and his practitioner students would get up and they would try to meta model him this, and they would try to belief change him that. And he would just use these 14 patterns to completely decimate any attempt at influence by his trained practitioners of NLP, right? So when you apply this to yourself, you will not only have 14 different ways to destroy any limiting belief that you have, you'll be able to deploy these in any combination or sequence to destroy the limiting beliefs, objections, and arguments of anybody who tries to influence you against your will. Okay? You can literally turn the tables on any gaslighting, narcissistic mofo on the planet in seconds by just understanding how to use these patterns. Okay? It's a $1,997 value. It even comes with a card game called the Reframe game that you can play. Yeah, sleight of mouth. That's right. This is a much more fun, exciting, and useful way to get really, really good at rapid conversational belief change. And that's what this is. Okay? Rapid, covert, conversational belief change and overcoming any objections in seconds. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give this to you 100% free. Total combined value on this so far is $6,491. But we're not done yet. We got one more thing that I want to share with you. How many of you have ever seen people like Lisa Sasevich or T. Harv Eker or Simon Sinek or Tony Robbins just start talking and talking and talking, and then they say, go back and sign up now, and all of a sudden a stampede of humanity rushes to the back of the room. They're fighting with each other to buy whatever products or trainings or coaching packages are being offered. What you need to understand is that when you go through something like an NLP trainer's training, or you go through like Lisa has a mastermind program that she runs, they're going to teach you how to create an offer and how to tell stories. And that's one level of the system. But there's a system behind the system, a system that's based on all the techniques I've just talked about, right? And that's what charisma and conversion is all about. It's about taking all the skills you've learned in the Secrets of Human Influence home study course, all the secrets you've learned in Weapons of Mass Instruction, all the techniques you've learned in Renegade Reframing, and how do you apply those to a group of people all at once at the same time. This is specifically designed for mass influence, to get people excited, salivating about what you're offering, to give them the deepest learning in the shortest amount of time possible, and have them literally salivating to rush to the back of the room to sign up to be your client, to buy your product or service, you name it, right? So we're going to go through two different types of persuasion architecture: small group persuasion tactics, as well as large group persuasion tactics. We'll talk to you about what I like to call the Singer model, which is a type of format that you use that highly influences people from a medical perspective. In other words, it teaches you how to influence very small groups with a very, very high conversion rate. It's not uncommon to get 25, 30, 40% conversion, if not more, from the Singer model, right? And we're also going to teach you the heart-centered model, or the large group model, which has about a 25 or better conversion rate. And this is for groups of 20, 30, 40, 100, 200, 300, 400 people. It's not about just what you do on stage. It's also about how you set up the talk, the architecture of what you talk about, how you talk about it, the way you talk about it. One of the first things that we'll share with you is called the 5 Ps. You're going to learn how to position yourself, how to position your audience, how to psychologically position the topic of your talk, position the subject of your talk, how to position your offer, and make it okay for you to actually talk about how to take your things to the next level and feel completely congruent. We're going to talk about how to do basic stagecraft, how to hold a microphone, how to move on stage with power and charisma and emanate that certainty, how to be truly and completely authentic with your audience and have them really bond with you in a way that makes them absolutely trust you. We're going to talk about ways to anchor spatially different types of emotions in different parts of the stage, so that you can fluctuate and move people's emotional states at will in the direction you need or want them to go. How to use the most powerful and compelling storytelling secrets to get people to realize this is what you've always wanted. This is what they've always needed, right? And link that to you. We're going to teach you how to use, again, just like in Ninja Stories from Weapons of Mass Instruction, how to embed all these different forms of priming into your audience so that they get white hot and ready to rush to the back of the room to raise their hand and work with you in the way that is most fulfilling and satisfying. Okay. We're going to actually show you, we're going to take transcripts of very famous speakers, and we're going to deconstruct those for you. We're going to show you all the hidden hypnosis, all the hidden NLP, and how it works and how it's put together. Remember, these are not people who are going to teach you how to do these things. They're just going to use them on you, so that when you go to some of these trainings, and they're doing these things on you, the moment they start doing it, you'll realize what's happening. You'll realize that they're using high-level influence and persuasion tactics. And because you can recognize them, you now have a choice as to how you let it affect you. Okay? You now have choice. Anything outside of your awareness is outside of your control. I'm going to give you that awareness so you can have the control. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give this to you 100% free as part of your Secrets of Human Influence home study course. Total combined value is $8,488. But we're how to get out of poverty. Use these skills, Merrick, and I guarantee you, you will get out of poverty. But only if you use them. If you don't use them, you won't get there. Okay? So let's review, okay? We have the 17-video, 7-stage Universal Persuasion Protocol Killer Influence Home Study Course, valued at $2,497. We've got the Weapons of Mass Instruction Neuroscientific Storytelling Secrets recorded live, plus the manual. It's a $1,997 value. You've got Renegade Reframing, how to instantly overcome any objection or change any belief, $1,997 value. And then you're going to have the Charisma and Conversion Hypnotic Presentation Skills for Presenters and Public Speakers, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. Total value on this is $8,488. But obviously, this is a webinar. Obviously, I want you guys to have the best. Obviously, I want what's best for you. So today, you're not going to have to pay $8,488. But would it, if I knock that down to half price, would that be a good deal? Say yes, right? But I'm not going to charge you half price. If I knock that down to a third of the price or a fourth of the price, $2,122, would that be a good deal? I think that would be an amazing deal, right? I'd be like, hell yeah, right, Aisha? Right? But guess what? I'm not even going to charge you that much. For those of you who are ready to take charge, to control your life in ways you only dreamed of, to get everything you've ever wanted, all you got to do, you can get it all for one one-time investment of just $997. And if you need extra help, you can break that into 3 easy installments of just $397. And all you need to do right now is click this link, www.killerinfluence.com/GO. Go now. Killerinfluence.com. Click that link. Go now. www.killerinfluence.com/go. Click the link. Click the link. Click the link. And get on the fast track to learning all of these skills and start leveling up right now. Okay? Now, some of you might be on the fence. It's like, well, David, I don't know. I've had people make promises before. I say, yeah. Here's the first thing I want you to understand. This course is 100% risk-free. If you're not 100% satisfied with the program, if it's not delivering more than I said it could, which I've understated what these things can do, test this program, apply these skills to your life for a full 60 days. If the Secrets of Human Influence program doesn't help you in making more money, closing more deals, becoming more confident, attractive, secure, powerful, becoming and winning any more social encounters, if it's not doing any of the things for you that I said it would, you just pick up the phone, let Mia or Moss know, and we will refund your entire investment. And you can even keep the courses for free that you've downloaded. Right? Again, test it for a full 60 days. At the end of 60 days, you're not convinced it's the most powerful thing you've ever experienced, let us know and we'll refund your money. You have 60 days to give it a shot, right? You risk absolutely nothing except not staying the old person you've been, as opposed to becoming the person you want to be. How bad do you want to be that new person? How bad do you want the things you said you just wrote, that you wrote down that you said you wanted? How badly do the things you just shouted out to the universe in our earlier drill do you really want? How serious are you about it? Right? Click that link right now. Go to www.killerinfluence.com/go. If you're serious, if you weren't lying to yourself earlier, or you weren't lying to me earlier, click your link right now, get your course, and let me help you level up. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. Okay? But I can't multiply zeros, guys. If you're not in the classes, you're not taking the classes, I can't help you level up now. Okay? Now, for those of you who are action takers, those of you who've already clicked the link, those of you who didn't wait until the last minute, here's what I got for you. If you've grabbed your course already before I log off this webinar, and remember that this offer is for first-time webinar buyers only. If you've bought webinars from us before, or webinar packages, call us at 858-282-4663. We might have a different deal for you. Okay, so this is a first-time webinar buyer process, right, for fast action takers. Right now, if you have any of the courses I've already talked about, you can actually substitute those out for other courses of an equal or lesser value. We're happy to customize your package for you. But this is only good until tonight, April 10th, 11:59 p.m. Okay, but if you click that link right now, or if you already clicked that link, congratulations, you've already got some fast action bonuses coming to you automatically as a byproduct of clicking that link. Right. The first is you get a 3-month trial membership to our NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Group program. This is a program that meets in person and live on the 3rd Saturday of every month. And I literally come in, I go around the room and I say, Sumas, what do you want to learn? Mia, what do you want to learn? Yisha, what do you want to learn? Anthony, what do you want to learn? John, what do you want to learn? Josh, what do you want to learn? Right. And I write that on the board. I look at how they all interconnect. I create a lesson plan, and we drill you for the next 4 to 6 hours on the spot until you can do those techniques in your sleep. You won't get a certificate from the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. What you will get is the most important thing on the planet: skills and support. You will be surrounded by people who want the things you want, who want to learn and master the techniques that you want to learn and master, who you can actually talk to and train with and not feel weird like a weirdo or get looked at like you're going to be burned at, like you're a witch or burned at the cross or something like that. The community that supports you, the feedback that you get, and the ability and the opportunity to practice those skills consistently is what's going to level you up completely now, right? Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group has been running nonstop since October 2010. And we videotaped and recorded every single one of those training sessions, and we've archived them on our NLP Power website. We've archived them in our private Facebook archive, and we've archived them in the members only section of our YouTube channel. And as a member of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, you get complete, unfettered access to the entire archive for as long as you're a member of the Mastermind Mentoring Group. Total value on this is $1,997 value. And that access and that mentoring program, on top of the hands-on training that you get access to everything I've ever taught or anything that anybody's ever wanted to learn from me. So advanced conversational hypnosis, dating and attraction secrets, hidden laws of attraction, manifestation practices, remote viewing, remote influencing, energy healing, energy psychology, advanced regression and trauma resolution, hypnotic language patterns, neurolinguistic programming, hypnotherapy, you name it, face reading, accelerated learning techniques, memory enhancement, you name it. If it involves integration and unification of mind and body, at some point somebody's asked that question and we've done training on it, and it's somewhere in that 13-year archive, literally thousands of hours of training stuff that's never been on YouTube. It's never been featured in a product. You get to binge to your heart's content for the entire time you're in the Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group. And if you're local to the San Diego area, or you don't mind driving, we actually host a live component of this on the 3rd Saturday of every month. So every now and then you'll get a little notification, say, hey, attend the Mastermind live and in person, and you'll be given access to our secret location. You can come in the same room with me, right next to 5, 6, 7 other people, 8 other people, however we can fit. And while I'm teaching online, you'll be learning it in person with me. And I'll be watching over you, guiding you, giving you feedback, doing extra drills with you, making sure that you get the biggest bang for your training buck humanly possible, right? That's open to any and all of you who want to come and train in person. It's just easier if you're in the San Diego, Arizona area, right? Or Northern California, Los Angeles area. We'll let you know how to do that. Total value, this is the $1,997 value. We're going to give this to you free. Why? Because we want you to actually use this material and level up your life. And this is one of the most powerful and important ways that we get to do that for you. Right? If you don't have a group of people to practice with, it's much harder. It can be done, but trust me, the burden is a lot lighter when you're surrounded by people moving in the same direction that you are. Okay. We're going to give this to you free. Total value on this is $10,485 combined, right? But we're not done yet. This is only your first fast action bonus. Click that link right now. You're also going to get access to the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. This was a course I created many, many years ago, and it was designed specifically for one purpose and one purpose only, to get you good at conversational and covert hypnosis super, super, super fast. Literally, you could watch 2 videos and be out there hypnotizing people in just hours. So if you're someone who likes the way to get started fast, that wants to go out and test things immediately, this program will give you the fast track. It's a $997 value. It has videos on the most powerful conversational hypnosis language patterns that exist. It has another set of videos on me teaching this stuff in a meetup session that's never been released to the public. It has videos on lie detection, instant and rapid hypnosis inductions that are super, super simple and that work. I think it also has hypnotic hot buttons and anchoring in action, which are videos on how to press people's emotional triggers and anchor feelings and states on demand. They're all yours. It comes with transcripts. It comes with downloadable MP3 audios, as well as manuals that you can actually use to practice your language skills. Total value on this is $997 value. We're going to give it to you free because we want you to win. We want you to have every tool, every opportunity to learn these skills in the way that's easiest and most desirable for you. Some people are going to start with the 17 video program, and that's fine. Some people are going to jump into this first. That's okay too. If you want the fast start, this is a great way to start. Prove it to yourself, then come back, learn the complete system. Total value on this is $11,482. And for the next 21 people to click that button now, before I log off tonight's webinar. In other words, if you've already clicked this link, you already have this, you just didn't know it. But if you want access to these 3 bonuses, you got to click that link before I log off tonight's webinar. For those of you who click that link right now, reserve your package, we're going to give you a free VIP super ticket to our next Killer Influence 2024 live Secrets of Covert Hypnosis 5-day certification boot camp here in San Diego, August 6th through the 10th. It's a $3,150 value, and you're going to learn everything we talked about in today's webinar when I went through that list of, becoming a master, how to think like a master of influence, how to control your state so nobody else can, how to link those emotions and bond with people automatically, the most powerful language patterns that exist, and how to use them anytime, anywhere, and install them in you in such a way that they become a natural part of your everyday speaking, where you just become naturally irresistible, right? How to manage the emotional states of everyone you meet so you can move them from wherever they're at to wherever you need and want them to be, and they feel completely good about it, right? How to jump into their behavior code, how to bond to their emotions, how to deliver embedded commands, thought binds, and IU shifts, and semantically prime your language to fill that out, how to manage the spatial relationships around people so you can psychologically position yourself in the minds of your subject so they're automatically more subservient, automatically like you more, automatically trust you more, right? How to detect lies in seconds, the 15 to 20 most powerful, most obvious signs that a person might be lying to you, right? How to profile people in 30 to 90 seconds or less. How to manage the social hypnotic operators that government, media, marketers are using to push your psychological buttons and make you respond in automatic ways. I'm going to teach you what these are, how they work, how to detect them, and how to use them so that you can use them to make your life better and protect yourself from influence that you didn't ask for. Okay, that's all part of your Killer Influence Live training. There's going to be drill after drill after drill. You'll meet some of the coolest, most fun people to hang out with on the planet. It's a 5-day full immersion where I get to watch you, observe you, give you customized drills, feedback on what you're doing. And I literally install these things in you and you install them in one another for a full 5 days. It will change your confidence level. It will change your authority level. It will change your ability to like and to create like, attraction, rapport, credibility, social status. You'll be able to help more people, influence people to do what you want them to do, and almost never hear the word no again unless you want to hear the word no. Okay? It's really there's a reason it was named the #1 NLP training program in the world. Here's the funniest part about that, by the way. It was named and nominated the #1 NLP training program year after year since 2020. And I have never promoted Killer Influence as an NLP course. That's how powerful this is. Okay? You're getting the best of the best because that's what I want for you. That's what you deserve. And so I'm giving you this opportunity to not only binge watch those videos to your heart's content, but to get into a room with me and my best people live for a full 5 days. Now, if you can't make the training, there is a hybrid option. If for some reason you can't make this training, pick up the phone and let us know. We'll move you to the next training. In other words, you won't lose this ticket if you can't make it in August, right? If you can't make it in August, then we will move you to the next Killer Influence. Or if there's a training that you would rather take instead, then we can put you into that. But you got to remember, Killer Influence, by the way, is a prerequisite for a lot of our more advanced trainings. So we highly recommend you take this training when it's offered so you can get into the other trainings later on. It's a $3,150 value, guys, at the door. That's what you'd have to pay at the door. We're going to give this to you free, but you've got to be one of the next 21 people to have clicked that link before I log off the webinar. Okay? Total value on this is $14,632. So let's just review what you've got. Then we're going to give you a quick break. So you're going to get the Secrets of Human Influence home study course valued at $2,497 value. You're going to get the Weapons of Mass Instruction, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get Renegade Reframing, the Art of Conversational Belief Change and Objection Mastery, $1,997 value. We're going to give it to you free. We're going to give you Charisma and Conversion, one that we rarely give out. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give it to you free. We're going to give you a 3-month trial membership to the Mastermind Mentoring Program, where you get to work with me as part of a group and really drill down on the things you most need and want to master in your life. $1,997 value. We're going to give it to you free. We're going to give you the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. And you're going to get that free VIP super ticket to our next 5-day Killer Influence Secrets of Covert Hypnosis live training here in San Diego, August 6th to August 10th. It's a $3,150 value. We're going to give it to you free. If you total up the combined value of this package, do the math, guys. And I know the math is right, Seth. Total value is $14,632. You can get it all for the teeny tiny investment of just $997. If you need a little extra help, you can break that up into 3 easy installments of just $397 each. And all you got to do to get yours is click this link right now. Go to www.killerinfluence.com/go. Click the link right now. Click the link, click the link, click the link. Seth says, yes, the math is right. Who checked it for you? I did. All right. Now, a couple of things about this. If you've already bought or purchased any of the courses mentioned in this package, and you still want to take advantage of this offer, that's fine. Just give Moss or Mia a call at 858-282-4663 and let him know you've bought the package and you want to swap out a course because you already got it. And we will let you swap out a course of equal or lesser value, absolutely free. So let's say, for example, that in the past you've bought Renegade Reframing, right? Well, that's fine. You just go to our catalog, you find another course that's retailing for $19.97, call Moss, say, hey, I've already got Renegade Reframing. Can I get the NLP practitioner certification videos or rapid trauma resolution? If it's of an equal or lesser value, we'll just swap it out for you. So you get to customize your package, okay? If you qualify for one of our VIP tickets and you can't make the August training, that's fine. Just let us know. We'll move you to another training. That ticket stays active until you use it. So let's say you've already been to Killer Influence, but you know somebody who could really benefit from that VIP ticket. You can gift that VIP ticket to somebody else and they can come on that ticket for free, right? Let's say that between now and August, we raise the price of Killer Influence. We change it to $37.97 or $37.50 or $47.50, whatever it is, right? Well, you still get in for free, regardless of what the price is, because you have this VIP super ticket, you still get a front row seat. Let's say that the training sells out. Like last training we did for Identity by Design, we wound up overbooked. We had like 20 people scheduled for a room that would hold like 20. And we had like almost 30 people show up out of the blue. We made seats for all of them because they had VIP tickets, right? If you have a VIP ticket, you can show up even if the training is overbooked and we'll find a seat for you. Okay. So this ticket, once you have it, it's not canceled until it's used. You can gift it to other people. It's valuable for whatever course you can swap it for a course of equal or lesser value, and you're guaranteed a spot, even if this training is sold out. Let's say at the last minute, your schedule changes and now you were going to come, but you can't. That's fine. You just let Moss or me know. They'll put you, as long as you're in our database, we'll move you to another list, to another training. So you have this ticket that you can use anytime for the rest of your life. You can use it one time, but it doesn't expire. So it's worth it just for that, right? So make sure that you click that link and grab your ticket before I log off the webinar, because when I log off the webinar, this complete package goes away. The NLP Power goes away. The Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course goes away. The VIP Super Ticket goes away. So if you want to make sure that you've got it all for just one low installment of $9.97, click the link right now, killerinfluence.com/GO. Okay. Do it right now. Don't hesitate. Go for it. Okay. Now, while you're doing that, it is 3:24 by my reckoning. I'm going to give you guys a 7-minute break. We're going to come back at 3:31 my time, and we're going to pick up into part 3 of the webinar. We're going to customize the applications. We're going to teach you some more cool stuff, and I'll let you guys pick what that thing is. All right. So click that link right now. I will see you in 6 minutes. Click the link, click the link, click the link. Go for it. All right. While we're waiting on the break, this is your open Q&A time. While you're clicking those links, getting your stuff set up, you have any questions about things pertaining to tonight's webinar, the package deals that we're offering, or random questions, now is the time to ask. Just type it in the chat. Bueller? Bueller? Killer Influence is version 1, right? Yes, it is. Great question. We'll probably be doing a Defense Against the Dark Arts later in the year. Defense Against the Dark Arts has a little bit more profiling training in it than it does pure influence, because profiling, for by and large, is one of the, I think, the single most overlooked aspects of being a good at influence, the ability to read people. And Chase and I both agree on this, there's 3 elements to going into influencing people effectively. One is the tools of influence. That's what everybody wants to learn. The second is I'm doing this in reverse order, by the way. The second is the intelligence aspect of it, the ability to profile and read people and know what the strengths and weaknesses and the sensibilities and sensitivities of your subject or target are. And most important, the apex of the influence pyramid is really who you are. What kind of a person are you? How strong is your confidence? How strong is your authority? How comfortable are you? How socially aware or socially intelligent are you? Right? How fluid of thought are you? These are things that you can take. Julie's saying, where is this going to be held? This event is going to be held in San Diego. Julie, you've actually been there. It's at the same place that you came, the other trainings you came to. So Julie Holmes is one of our alumni, and this will be at the Country Inn and Suites, unless they kick us out, August 6th through the 10th. Cynthia says, I'm communicating with a nonverbal person. How can I know they're getting what they want? Excitement, head shaking. Watch their pupils, watch their blink rate, watch their shutter speed, right? Watch how they lean forward and back. All right. All right. I've got about 30 seconds or so before our break is over. You guys got any other questions? Because once that hits 31, we're back on track. We're back to phase 3 of the webinar. And I have to leave early tonight because I actually have a coaching class almost immediately after this that I have to teach. So I'm literally going to be in front of this computer for the next 4.5 hours. All right. All right. For those of you who have stayed with us, thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful that you stayed with us. You know, the truth is that one of the things I learned a long time ago, and just by a show of hands in the chat, how many of you are a coach, a mentor, a counselor, somebody who is going to be speaking in front of large groups of people or does presentations of any kind? Okay. Anybody else? Bueller? And the reason I'm asking that is because I want to explain something. Okay, Jay says I am. All right. So one of my mentors, and I'm very proud, although she'd probably look at some of my material sometimes and, oh my God, please don't claim me as your student. But Cobra says I'm a hypnotist. Perfect. All right. The fastest way to build your business, bar none, is through some form of public speaking. In other words, finding an audience that is hungry for what you offer, getting in front of them and giving them an experience, a transformation. Okay. And a lot of times people will judge you because you actually offer them a next step as part of your, there's there's always an offer, right? And people think that the purpose of a seminar is to make an offer. No, it isn't, but it is. And let me explain that. If you are doing your work well, in other words, you're in front of a group of people, whether it's 100 people, 5 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, and you're delivering value, you're getting the person in the audience is getting what they want. You're getting what you want from this person, right? It is only natural. It is only natural that you're going to want to go further with that person. And this is what I learned from Lisa Sasevich many, many, many years ago, is that if you guide people through those amazing experiences and you don't give them the opportunity to take it further, to go to the next level, you're actually disserving them, because you're leading them to a dead end. You've led them to the water, but you're not letting them drink. So every time you present, or every time, and this is true, by the way, how many of you are bloggers or do any kind of vlogging or anything like that as part of your business? Here's a little tip. If you know what bounce rate is or stick rate on your website, you will increase your stick rate by putting a call to action after every blog post and article. Okay, I know it's kind of normal now, but back when I learned it, it wasn't that well known. You must always give the person a next step. Here's what you do next. And that will keep them engaged with you, and it will keep them on the track towards becoming more involved with you, to becoming more intimate in a way that's right for them. Okay. So when you see offers and things like that, understand that that's a service that people are, that if you're coming from the heart-centered place, if you're coming from a direct sales pressure approach, that's different. But that's something that Lisa taught me. And for those of you who are going to get in front of people, right, you have to make an offer. It's not optional. You have to have some kind of an offer. You have to give them some kind of a next step. Even if it's a tiny one, there has to be something. All right. This is important for you. You have to teach and train and guide your people. Right. I used to bust Chase's balls. Chase uses balls all the time because he would do amazing presentations. He doesn't do that anymore. But back in like 5, 6 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, he would do these amazing presentations and said, "Okay, thank you very much." Boom, and he would be done and be like, "What? But," and they'd have nowhere to go. Right. So Philip Mark says, "Williams, I do online present." Same exact thing. Right. It's a form of public speaking. The more authentic and engaging you become, the more trustworthy you become. Okay. So I wanted to put that out there, because how you think about the elements of a presentation will dramatically impact the way you express those components. Remember, everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's a feeling they either want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Your job is to give them those feelings. The fastest way to change someone's behavior is to change their body feelings. The fastest way to change a person's body feelings is to change yours first. I'll say that 2 more times. The fastest way to change anyone's behavior or decision is by changing their body feelings. The fastest way to change a person's body feelings is to change yours first. Last time. The fastest way to change a person's behaviors or decisions is by changing their body feelings. The fastest way to change another person's body feelings is to change yours first. The way you feel about your presentation, every piece of your presentation will have a body feeling connected to it. So if you're delivering great value and you're loving the material, but you get to the point where you have to make the offer, and all of a sudden you feel like a used car salesman, or you feel like, oh, I feel sleazy, right? That's going to change your body feelings. That's going to change how your audience responds to you. So you got to get your head and your heart in the right place if you want to maximize conversions and do the right thing. Does that make sense? Right? This is why your training, you'll see this when you come to the training in August. That's why your training always starts with state control and how to think like a master of influence. It has to start there. So you start with who you are, what you know about your subject, and then the tools of influence based on what you know about your subject and what you know about you. That's the triangle. Okay. Now, that being said, what do you guys want to learn about for the next 25 or 30 minutes? What do you want me to teach you? Type in the chat, and this will be a majority vote. What do you guys want to learn about? It's your training now. You tell me. And whatever we don't finish here, we'll pick up in Killer Influence in August or at the next webinar. Probably Killer Influence in August, though. Type it now or forever hold your peace. Bueller? Bueller? Word processes? Okay, I don't know what that means. Cynthia, what do you mean by word processes? Pain relief? Okay, I see. Anthony's asking me, have I thought more on the highlighted principles in Celestine prophecy? Actually, many years ago, I did. This particular training, Julie, is at the Country Inn and Suites, 5975 Lusk Boulevard, San Diego. And if we change the venue, we will let you know. Okay, so Cynthia wants to know about using the 21 most powerful words in the human language. Anybody else? The external version of the emotional bonding checklist. Okay. What else? I know there's more of you in here than that, so come on. Suck it up, guys. This is your training. Otherwise, I will arbitrarily make something up. Attracting and getting. I don't know what that last word is, William. Attracting and getting Killer Influence Manual stuff. Okay. He will put your brain back to work. All right. I must have really tranced you guys out because you guys are like attracting a mate and keeping them, powerful self-hypnosis, sentences to get powerful states. Oh, okay. So I've got 2 for language. Influencing others. Well, Jay, this whole training is on influencing others, brother. You got to give me something a little more specific, right? Going once, going twice. Autism? You want me to teach you how to be autistic? What? Sorry. No. Creating attraction via vibes. Okay. All right. So let's do this then. How to get back to your brain. Okay. Send sexual energy. Okay. You guys are really going off into down the rabbit hole. Holy cow. All right. More language techniques. All right. So when we talk about language techniques, do you want me to teach you conversational frameworks like how to remove resistance to persuasion, how to create conversations that generate tremendous connection, attraction, trust, and love? Do you want specific language patterns for specific effects? Social warm-up exercise? Okay, now you guys are okay. All right. All right, let's do this then. I don't have a lot of time, so my brain is telling me to do languaging. So let me see what we got here. Okay. Reframing. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of a sample platter. Okay. We're going to go with what I call fast track hypnotic languaging. Now, unfortunately, because the limited time that I have, I'm not going to be able to go as deep dive into a lot of these things. But all the things I'm going to cover, the full modules are in your home study course. So if you've got your home study course, you can actually find all of the things I'm going to talk about. So let's talk about the echo technique just a little bit really quick. So when we talk about more advanced echo procedures, and this goes to attraction, connection, and comfort, as well as reframing resistance, you want to be and mastering first impressions. That's actually a really good one. When you want to use the echo technique as often as possible because it checks all the boxes. Now, there's an advanced persuasion algorithm we call the master echo formula or master echo sequence. And it goes like this. Soften, ask, validate, echo, soften, and ask again. You can actually probably eliminate the second soften. So let me explain that to you. I'm going to give you a little secret. I'm going to teach you not just hypnotic language. I'm going to teach you how to learn hypnotic language. By a show of hands in the chats, how many of you have tried to learn hypnotic language patterns before? Just type yes or no in the chat. No? Okay. Yes. Was it easy? I'm assuming you didn't train with me. Was it easy? The idea. How many of you noticed that when you were trying to learn hypnotic language, a lot of times, as soon as you said the pattern, you forgot what you said. Or when you heard a pattern, you forgot what you said. Anybody notice that? Like it just didn't stick. It's like it was there and then it wasn't. Okay. The reason for that is because hypnotic language creates spontaneous amnesia. In other words, if I were to say to you, as you fully begin to recognize the immense power of this truly unstoppable killer influence formula, you'll rapidly discover new and exciting ways that it will transform your life in all the ways that automatically make you realize just how powerful you're becoming and feeling really good about it. How many of you can remember what I just said? Come out of trance. You can't, right? Right? Why is that? Because every time I stack a language technique, it amplifies the amount of processing that your brain has to do, which deepens trance. It deepens cognitive load and absorption. So if you've ever been one of those people who's had to listen to hypnotic language over and over and over again and try to recall it or do it, and you couldn't, this is why. It takes a huge amount of time and energy to process the language, much less recall it. You just lose the cognitive ability to do it, right? So when you want to learn hidden, and again, when you come to Killer Influence in August, right? When you get to the language component, you're going to be nose deep in this. Okay. This is how he makes people so good so quick. This is how you learn hypnotic language. You can't learn hypnotic language by just listening to it. And repeat that 2 more times. You can't learn hypnotic language just by listening to it. You can't learn hypnotic language, for the most part, just by listening to it. You can be affected by it. You can be influenced by it. But to be able to spontaneously recall it, it takes a huge amount of repetition through the auditory system to install this stuff deeply in your mind. But if you use multimodal, multi-cortical learning, you can install the skill very, very rapidly compared to the normal way most people do it. So what does that actually mean? It means that if you want to learn hypnotic language, and again, you'll do this in Killer Influence in August, right? If you want to learn hypnotic language, you have to use multiple modalities. So what am I talking about? Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, right? You have to use all of these together to install the languaging. So you have to write it 3 times. You have to read it out loud and silently, with an emphasis on out loud. Actually, I think it's aloud. At least 3 times. Right? And then you have to speak it. Beware of people, and a lot of NLP trainers are guilty of this. Beware of people who say, you don't need to take notes. Don't worry about remembering it. I'm installing it into you unconsciously. Anytime you hear the word, I'm going to install this in you unconsciously, don't consciously pay attention or whatever. I want you to kind of in your mind go, okay? And here's my thoughts on this. And again, this is, I will be upfront and tell you right upon that I am deliberately, a lot of my colleagues in the NLP world are going to argue with me up one side and down the other. But I taught this shit for free for 10 years before I ever was willing to certify anybody. And there's a reason why our practitioners are so much better. It's because of the methodology we use to teach. So here's the thing. Here's my thoughts on this. And I want you, for those of you who've had NLP training and your trainer said, I'm just going to install it in you unconsciously. You don't have to worry about taking notes. You don't have to worry about writing anything. Horse shit. Okay. Yes, unconscious learning does work, but it doesn't work the way you think it does. Okay. You have to have a conscious recall pathway for the information that was installed to be able to come out. Right? So if you check out while you're listening to hypnotic language, the conscious mind, the aperture that gets into your deep level unconscious isn't there. It's going in and it's stored there, but the recall pathway isn't there. So if it does activate, it will activate spontaneously and automatically outside the realm of conscious awareness. You'll just start doing something and you won't know where it came from or why or how, and you won't be able to explain it to anybody. Okay? I have found that people get the greatest degree of learning, transformation, and ability by understanding, by getting unconscious learning on top of conscious learning. And this is the process that we use. For every language pattern that I'm going to share with you, you must write it physically. You must read it out loud and silently in your mind, and you must speak it. You must deploy it multiple times with different human beings, right? So that's the 3x3x3 learning method for hypnotic language. We'll cover this in much more depth at your August training. Okay, let's talk about let me see here. I want to give you guys 1 or 2 language patterns. So what I'd like to share with you right now is what I consider to be, hold on a second, I'm looking for the page. Oh, there we go. The most powerful language pattern that exists. Okay. Now, let me be clear. The echo technique is actually the most powerful language pattern most of the time. But there's another one that is the most powerful because it's in a different category. And these are called awareness words. Okay. Now, think about this for a moment. What if you had the ability, right, to literally force a person to pay attention to exactly what you want in the way that you wanted it and ignore everything else? What could you do with a superpower like that? Type it in the chat. What could you do? Come out of trance, guys. Bueller? Look at the participants here. Bueller? Anything and everything? Very good, Alexia. Become a great leader? Damn straight. I get more clients? Yes. All right. So write these words down. You ready? I'm going to go a little fast. Actually, let's do this. Let's review before you click the link. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and let's review the offer, because we're coming on a home stretch. I gotta teach really fast, but I have to show you and remind you that the clock is running on your offer sheet. So let's just do this real quick. Click the link right now if you haven't already. Secrets of Human Influence Home Study Course, $2,497 value. You're going to get the Weapons of Mass Instruction, $1,997. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get the Renegade Reframing, Art of Conversational Belief Change and Objection Obliteration, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get the Charisma and Conversion Home Study Program, Hypnotic Presentation Skills for Public Speaking, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get a 3-month trial membership into the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, $1,997 value. We're going to give you that for free. You're going to get the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value. We're going to give it to you free. And of course, you'll get a free ticket to the Killer Influence 5-day Hypnosis Certification Bootcamp, August 6th to the 10th here in San Diego. $3,150 value. Total package is $14,632. You get it all for one low installment in $997 or 3 easy payments of just $397 each. You just click this link right here, killerinfluence.com/go. You'll be automatically entered into our VIP database, and you will be allowed to attend the 5-day certification bootcamp absolutely free. Okay, click that link. This offer, these three bonuses go away when I log off the webinar. Okay, everything else is good until 11:59 p.m. tonight. Now, write these words down. Understand, experience, discover, recognize, aware, realize, notice, and comprehend. Oh, the offer is not showing? Hold on. So I'll let the offer show for you guys. While I'm doing that, I'm going to read these out loud so you can write them down. Understand, experience, recognize, aware, realize, notice, comprehend. One more time. understand, experience, discover, recognize, aware, realize, notice, and comprehend. Now, if you've managed to write those down, type done in the chat so I know. Done? Okay, good. Okay. These are the words that I want you to practice with going forward. So let me show you how to practice this and what this is like. So when I teach people hypnotic language, I don't really care. I do care a little bit that you know what the name of a pattern is. So for example, what you're learning here is called the awareness pattern. But what's more important when you're learning hypnotic language pattern is that you understand what it does and how to make it, right? I know people that have been overly trained in NLP and they can recognize a generalization and a lost performative and a missing referential or lack of referential index, and they can name all of these patterns. They can name cause and effect, and they can name awareness, and they can name complex equivalence and all those things, right? That's not really what's important. What's important is that you understand what that language pattern does and how to make it. So when you come to Killer Influence in August and you're watching your videos, you're going to hear me grill the audience. You're going to see me point at Seth or something else. Say, what does a cause and effect language pattern do? What does an awareness pattern do? What's the effect of an awareness pattern when you deploy it? So, and it's the understanding of what it does and how to make it that allows you to use it, right? Knowing its name is mental masturbation if you don't have those other two, right? So what does the awareness language pattern actually allow you to do? When you deploy this with intention on another human being, what effect does it have? Here's your first one, and you can take a screenshot of this if you want. It allows you to direct a person's focus of attention towards or away from anything you want and exclude. Actually, let me just go back and just get rid of that because I was gilding the lily on that. Towards anything you want and exclude anything you don't want. So going back to our list of words: understand, experience, discover, recognize, aware, realize, notice, comprehend. So let's say I wanted you to really go inside, review what you've learned, link what you most want and desire to the training in this webinar and the system it comes from. Let's say I want you to do that, right? And I want to use the words notice and comprehend and recognize and realize, right? I could say, again, don't try to analyze this. You can if you want to. But as you review in your mind all of the many things that we've talked about in tonight's training, and you realize the key elements that will allow you to get exactly what you want the way you want it, you can notice a growing sense of desire as you realize that this is just the tip of a very large iceberg for getting everything you want in your life. And as you realize that, you can comprehend how clicking that link right now is the fastest track to getting everything you want right away. Okay. Now, what just happened there? What just happened? Right? All I did in bullet points was have you review what you learned, think about what you most wanted to do, find the parts of the webinar that directly allow you to feel like you're getting that, and click the link to get more. Right? That was the process that I installed. Right? Actually, Cynthia says you were selling them your package. No, I wasn't actually. I was giving you the opportunity to buy what you really wanted. Right? Because I didn't tell you what I was giving you. Right? I told you, I suggested to you that you look at what you learned today, realize the points that give you the things you most want, and go for it. Right? So how did I do that? The moment I say any of the words I just gave you, understand, experience, recognize, aware, realize, notice, comprehend, anything that follows that word, your brain is going to automatically do. And it's going to do it in such a way that is exactly right for you. In other words, your brain is going to fill in how that's supposed to happen so you don't resist it. Okay. Your brain will also assume, usually correctly, that everything that follows one of these words is absolutely true. In NLP, that phenomena is known as a presupposition. It's a neurological linguistic of assumptions the nervous system has to make in order for you to understand what you just heard. Now, we'll talk about all this when you come to Killer Influence, when you review your package. We will review this in depth. You will understand this phenomenon. But you don't need all that training to deploy it immediately, right? You just need to know a basic structure. So the three, that this language pattern does is it redirects a person's focus of attention to exactly what follows the word. So if I say, notice the shifting tones in my voice, as you become aware of the thoughts you're having in your head, and you can recognize a sensation in the lobe of your left ear, as you're becoming aware of the sensation in the big toe of your right foot, notice what happened every time I used one of those words. You type in the chat what you noticed. Type it in the chat. What did you notice? What happened to your focus of attention? Did all of a sudden your awareness move from shifting tones to internal thoughts to the earlobe to the toe without me telling you to do that? Here's the really messed up part. It wouldn't matter if you knew what I was doing or not. Your brain still would have done it, and it would have done it automatically. One of the things you'll experience in Killer Influence is I'll actually sit in front of the room and I will challenge you to summon up every unit of willpower that you have and resist what I'm about. Do your best to resist what I'm about to say, and you can't do it. And I'm using these words. The awareness language pattern is the controlling pattern of the entire system. Right? Now, again, I'll give you all the theory about why that's true in the training. But when you use when you use the awareness language pattern, it directs their focus of attention to exactly what you want, but it also causes your mind to automatically begin to do whatever process follows that word. So you said, when I said, notice the shifting tones in your mind or in my voice, right? The moment I said that, you stopped listening on one level and started listening for differences now. You just did it automatically. You couldn't not do it. So not only does the awareness pattern allow you to direct focus of attention, it can actually create a form of dissociation where your unconscious mind starts doing a process and your conscious mind observes you doing it. Okay. And you can't resist it even if you know it's being done. So to me, that makes it the apex language pattern. Unfortunately, it's not as versatile as the echo technique. So they're both the most powerful. They're both kind of the king and queen of that linguistic influence hierarchy, but they're very different in the way they do it. So Cynthia says, when you do that, I know I tend to focus on you faster than normal. Yes, because when I use this language pattern, I'm literally controlling focus, attention, and awareness, as well as concentration. I'm controlling all of them. So once again, I'm moving suggestibility sliders to the right. Now, what's funny about this pattern, one of the reasons it's so ninja, this pattern is such a fundamental part of our ability to process what goes on inside of our minds and outside of our minds that you can overuse it and nobody will notice. Nobody will care. Right? So when you go back and you watch my YouTube channel, record the audio, pull a transcript, and look for all the awareness words in my language. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. Okay. This is, again, I rarely teach this outside of a very specialized context. So if I wanted to get somebody attracted to me, you ever notice how some people you just automatically connect with and just feel totally comfortable with? And as you call it, and as that connection grows, you notice that it's actually more than just that. It's just like there's this deep level warmth that kind of connects two people together. As you realize that growing feeling of attraction, it's like you were just made to be together. Like it was just ordained. And it's so comfortable when you notice that happening. I'm curious, how does that happen for you? Right? So again, you're going to miss a lot of what I just did. Go back, pull the transcript, rewatch the video, listen and write what I said, and count the pattern words. Okay. So Prokopios is saying, what if I had a hard time focusing? That's normal, because one of the things that's going to happen with these words is it's going to throw you right into a trance. If your normal method of processing language is 7 plus or minus 2, the moment I start stacking patterns of any kind, but especially this one, it drops to 3. So you won't feel confused sometimes, but you will feel like your brain you'll be very absorbed in it, and it'll feel like you're paying attention, but at the same time, it's like your head is kind of wrapped in cotton. It's a kind of a comfy feeling. And that's what makes it really powerful, right? If you've ever been to a really boring lecture and you escape into trance, that's a different kind of trance. Or when you've ever read a technical manual where there's no descriptors whatsoever, and it's just so technical and devoid of description that you just go into overwhelm. When you start using these kinds of words, you have a similar phenomena happening, but it feels better. It's actually way more comfortable, and a person's suggestibility and openness levers up. And they can't fight it. They can't resist it. Okay. Can I explain the different meanings associated with understand, realize, and comprehend? The reason that, Benjamin, I don't have to explain it because it's exactly the same in English. The fact that they have a similar definition is what puts them in this category. Procopio says, thanks for saying my name correctly. I do like listening to you too. Thank you. And that's the point. When you use these language patterns like I'm teaching you, and you add in the echo technique, and you add in their emotional bonding words, they will salivate to spend time with you. You'll just start seeing this happen. The pupils will dilate, the blink rate will slow down, they'll lean forward, they'll get what we call the doggy dinner bowl look. Okay, this is one of the patterns. Okay, guys, if you stack it with the echo technique, you stack it with the emotional bonding checklist, and now you start applying this, right? Can you see how they stack? Yes or yes? If you get what I'm coming at, everything is a force multiplier. Everything multiplies the thing that went before. Yes or yes? Okay. For those of you who, again, we'll give you a full treatment of this in Killer Influence, Secrets of Covert Hypnosis, both the live training and the video package. So when you get that, you'll be able to just dive in. And if you have questions on it, you'll be able to come to the masterminds and work out your sticking points. That's why we gave you the mastermind, so that if you had problems, you can come in and get hands-on mentoring with that. Okay. All right. So we're coming up on the end of our session. So last call, as they say. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Remember, when I log off the webinar, these fast action bonuses, NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis course, and the VIP Super Ticket, $3,150 value, they all go away. So you can still get Charisma Conversion, Renegade Reframing, Weapons of Mass Instruction, Secrets of Human Influence. They're all available at the $997 price point until 11:59 p.m. tonight. One last thing. If you call Moss or Mia or email, make sure you do it either before I log off the webinar or before 11:59 p.m. tonight. And when you do, make sure you leave your contact information. If you leave your contact information, you will qualify for all the bonuses. Everything. If you do not leave your contact information and you wait till tomorrow to reach out to us, you will not qualify. Okay? So call. If you get the voicemail, because the phones are ringing off the hook over here, just leave your contact information. We'll get back to you within 24 hours. And we will help you customize your packages. Click this link right now. Just get your course, get your package, and then follow up with us with any questions you have, and we'll get those answered for you. And if the package isn't right, we'll refund you then and there. Right? You have nothing to risk. Just save your seat right now by clicking this link before we log off. Okay? killerinfluence.com/GO. Okay? All right. Well, I hope this was a fun class for me. How do you guys feel about this class? Did you enjoy it? Did you learn a lot? I'm curious. Tell me, type in what you learned. Jeffrey says, awesome, great, loved it. You're great, David. You are like that magic healing person that's around, makes the world feel better with you here, healing, confidence. Thank you so much for that, Lottie. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate you guys. Remember, I developed most of these techniques for me. I'm not going to lie to you, right? I don't need to. I developed all of these things to make my life easier and get what I wanted in life. And what I discovered was that I had a lot of kindred brothers and sisters out there, kindred souls like you, like me, who have the same problems. And so in the spirit of giving, in the spirit of sharing, in the spirit of doing well by doing good, I share these opportunities with you. And if you want to take the journey, click the link and let's journey on together. Let's do this together, right? As my mentor, Lisa Sasevich, used to say, if you're not going to do this, what are you going to do instead? What's your option? If you don't know, click the link and let's do this. Okay? In the words of the immortal Cal Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night, everybody. Good night. God bless. We'll see you on the other side. Click that link and let's change the world one mind at a time, starting with yours. God bless.